We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for this special report.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a
looking
bat, I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
best
boils
rising
over like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you come take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fucked up real bad.
Shut up! Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you. War game.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BX Sports Jedi Network Heel of the Ring. What's up, Chris? How are you? Salute.
What is up, Kev? What is up, everybody? Heel of the Ring Sports Jedi Network. We're back for another weekly wrestling. I'm excited. I'm excited after a week of getting caught up in Vengeance Day and All-Star Weekend. We're back, Kev. We're back.
We're back. Let's have a lot to talk about. We're gonna go a little backwards. Normally, we start on Monday Night Raw and work our way across the timeline. But what everyone's talking at a buzz is the final boss, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, comes back, makes an appearance on Friday Night SmackDown, where a lot of people either confused, or didn't like it. They're upset. They don't know what to think. First and foremost, we saw The Rock come out, kind of give flowers to Cody Rhodes and something out of Mortal Kombat. I want your soul. Your soul is mine. Chris, what's your thought on that whole Dwayne Johnson? Of course, by the way, we're blurring the lead. It was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and WrestleMania next year will be in New Orleans. So that's a great one where our guy Chris the Flash is from, his hometown. If your ears were ringing all last night, Chris, is that we were mentioning you in a good way, of course, and we're saying your hometown, you must be excited, you might be stoked, you got to start saving a little dollars of stuff so we could, or we got to send you there, or we got to meet up at WrestleMania. But let me go to Pittsburgh's Chris. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on that promo?
First off, Chris, congrats, dude. I felt the same way when they announced WrestleMania in Philly. But I'm a little, I'm a little confused here. I'm not gonna lie. We all thought we were gonna get some Cody and Rock type of feud, type of something after him coming out at Bad Blood, kind of giving us this, giving us, hints of, he literally just kicked his ass backstage not too long ago. Now it's at the Raw premiere. We kind of thought, oh, okay, this is just corporate Dwayne. He's TKO, which I want to get into TKO a little bit later. But
get into it.
He's a part of that. I was more like corporate Dwayne. We all thought, okay, final boss. This felt like the same thing with a little bit of final boss. I don't understand why The Rock keeps giving Cody flowers. It's WrestleMania season. We saw no indication of Roman Reigns. What happened with that? What happened with what happened with the Raw on Netflix when Roman beat Solo and the Ulafala? Where's that going? We didn't see anything. We didn't see anything bloodline or with Solo, with Roman. And I know Roman's out indefinitely, but if we're not getting a feud with Cody down the road, if this is like a way of The Rock and Cody joining forces, okay, like I don't understand what the hell's in the Elimination Chamber now. A lot of people are. What does this mean for the Elimination Chamber? Who does it make sense for it to win? It really only comes down to two people: John Cena and CM Punk. CM Punk has his favor, and the feud's there already, and they teased it. And same thing with John Cena. There's history with those two guys, and those with The Rock and Cody. There's history with Cena or Punk. Those are the only two guys right now I can see winning the Rumble, or excuse me, the Elimination Chamber. My apologies. But I was just confused on last night's segment. He wants to collect Cody's soul. Everyone online is saying this is a potential heel turn. I don't know about you, but I was watching Ring of Honor when Cody was a heel, and I was watching all of that his indie run when Kingdom. He just debuted with Kingdom. He had his black hair. He just got that tattoo. If that Cody Rhodes were to show up in WWE, I'd be his biggest fan, because I have not been a fan of Cody since he's debuted. I don't think it's gonna happen. I just don't think right now you could market Cody as a heel. Maybe unless you do Cena as the baby face and Cody's the heel. But what does that leave? What does Cody do down the long run? Because Cena's gone after this year, and I don't think we're gonna see The Rock and Roman anytime soon. So if we're not getting Rock and Cody now, with the obvious The Rock being the heel and Cody being the face, what the hell are we getting? I'm not even talking about New Orleans. I'm talking about right now in 2 freaking months. Where's the WrestleMania build? Everyone was on Twitter, oh, The Rock's here saving WrestleMania. He didn't do that. He's not. He made WrestleMania more complicated last night. And I'm a big fan of The Rock. Look, I didn't grow up in the Attitude Era like Kev and all these other people. I grew up with, the Rock and, Cena era. Okay, but I know from watching all my history and all my knowledge, I know that The Rock, he's a draw. He's a draw. He needs to be put on the card. He needs to film whatever he needs to film, or scratch. I don't want to say scratch it. Obviously, a Hollywood production, you can't scratch a movie like that. But you can make time in your schedule. If you can make time for a freaking random Friday night in New Orleans, you can make time for the biggest event of the year in Vegas. So as of right now, I don't know where we stand. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from other people that can maybe. No, I like to hear from other people, not to like steal ideas. I like to, get okay, you help me yeah. So what do you think's going on? What do you think about The Rock? Because I'm kind of, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, this is again, ladies and gentlemen, this is my interpretation. I'm not gonna be here to measure my penis. I've been watching wrestling since before WrestleMania, yada yada yada, all that stuff. Here's what I got the interpretation with The Rock coming out, wanting your soul. Here's where he keeps talking about. Remember, Cody was pulled, first and foremost, he was pulled out of that triple threat. Triple threat, 6-man tag. I don't want to call it trios, because they really don't do trios. That's why I keep botching that. That 6-man tag, he pulled them because he used his weight as the final boss, as the member of the TKO, board member. They're already establishing and letting us know that he's got some power, some authority within the company, which we all know. Then he wants to meet Cody one-on-one. Before that, the tweet of the Rolex given to him as a gesture, as a gift to The Rock, that he didn't accept it, didn't want it, or time is running out for Cody, or giving him an ultimatum. He wants to collect his soul because he wants to see if he comes. Remember, Stone Cold Steve Austin turned corporate Stone Cold, corporate Rock. They're borrowing something that happened in the Attitude Era in the 90s, where the corporate sellout. Will Cody, and everyone has been saying, should Cody turn heel? I don't think Cody Rhodes is turning heel. What I'm thinking here, Rock is going to give an ultimatum at the Elimination Chamber. I don't think Cody's gonna accept it. I don't think it's gonna lead to a match between Rock and Cody. I don't think Rock is going to wrestle Cody Rhodes this WrestleMania. And for that, and it's a lot of stuff here. I think Punk, Cena are the main two players. It could swing and swindle any of the two ways. Me and Chef Dan were talking about this off the air, where it seems like John Cena was giving us heel vibes, where we mentioned it before on Monday Night Raw, and not to sound redundant for a lot of people that watch us, like, oh, you're recycling or saying the same thing week after week. But there's something, we are on all different platforms. There's always going to be a new set of ears that's going to listen to us. And we said, John Cena, hustle, loyalty, and respect. He's not really hustling because it's already March and we only seen him one time at Royal Rumble. So is that really respecting the wrestling crowd for all that time? That's why I would love Karrion Kross to get involved in this storyline. I know I'm going a little over the place because Karrion Kross is the ultimate instigator, antagonist, but let me leave that for away. He's not hustling. He's not royalty. Where's his loyalty to the WWE Universe? And will he lose his respect and give his soul to The Rock because he's going to retire? He wants to be part of the board member. I could see that role where it goes. That you know what, the wrestling fans never respect me when I was out there hustling and giving them my loyalty to this company. They never respect me. Cena sucks. Cena boos. I mean, I'm just trying to tie it in there, guys. Trying to make some sense where they're going creative there. So just hear me out because we probably, a lot of people says no, because that's the favorite word of the IWC. No, it doesn't work. Just that's one road or one scenario they could go for, where we could see a Cena heel turn, do whatever it takes, and Rock could guarantee and help him get to that main event or that spot to try to capture that undisputed world title. If Cody says no, he's gonna open up the hells on Cody Rhodes, where Cody Rhodes needs a heel to breathe on his neck. Everyone was saying ever since he beat Roman Reigns, his title run has been lackluster. Other than Kevin Owens started package power drive his ass and got on top and breathing on his neck, but you can't go too far because they already had a couple matches prior. Cody never had that heel breathing on his neck, and they wanted The Rock to be that heel to breathe down his neck. Like Rock told us, we need to be quiet and we have to trust the process. It was just one night last night. It might have not hit for you at the moment, but when we look back at the story down the road, when it pays off, we're like, damn, son of a gun. It all connects. It didn't hit at the moment, but damn, when you look at the whole trajectory of it, damn, that was some good episodic wrestling storytelling. I think also that's a case for John Cena. I also think CM Punk is in this situation, Chris. I think CM Punk coming back to the company, changing his thought process. Remember, he fought against the system. He fought against the higher ups, the corporate, the office, being the voice of the people, the voice of the voiceless. He loses at the chamber. He's so frustrated. He's all hell bent to get that main event spot, to finish his story at WrestleMania. Will he sell his soul to get that main event spot at WrestleMania? Will he sell his soul to the final boss? And who could broker that? The wise man, because he owes a favor to Paul. Paul Heyman owes him a favor. Paul Heyman has a lot of insights with the Ananali family, with being the wise man of the tribal chief. He has access to the final boss. Remember, he still has a cell phone that has the final boss's number. Give the final boss a call as that favor, and he's in the main event of WrestleMania. That's how you tie in The Rock into WrestleMania. WrestleMania doesn't really need The Rock as a wrestler, but as storyline wise, with last night, it does. Now, where does that leave Roman Reigns? You just wait a minute, family first. Why, I go back to remember when Rock came out and said 1, 2, 3, cut the slat of the throat? Maybe he meant that to Roman. And if Roman goes back to The Rock and says, why are you're now siding with Cody? You teamed up with him first. And when I saw that, all three, you're dead. That was it. It's cutthroat season now. I'm gonna cut you off. Where Roman can have an issue with The Rock, you want him to be your champion, because Rock said this: I want you to be my champion. I admire you. Where Roman says, wait a minute, I was 1,316 days as world champion. the greatest, the tribal chief, the unenterable, the unstoppable, all that. And I'm not good enough to be your champion. I thought we were family, Us. You could go through so many tentacles of storyline nights that could bring back to the table Rock versus Roman now. It doesn't have to be for this WrestleMania. It could be for, I always say it and I keep saying it again. I think the big card for WWE is going to be SummerSlam. 2-night event, 2-night spectacular. Rock and Roman night, one of the nights as their main event is going to draw tickets in the summer, ladies and gentlemen, where people are traveling, people get vacation. It's beautiful to be outside. You want to go, you could sightsee, you could go see Yankee game, you could go see a Phillies game because it's going to be MetLife in that vicinity. You go see the Mets game, whatever the case is, guys, in that time of August. Traveling for around the country, great weather, you don't have flight delays. I think to me that's the big picture, in my opinion. And again, it might not make sense last night, but you have to let it unfold and let it breathe. Let it breathe, because I think it's going to tell us at the Elimination Chamber, it's going to be either Cena or CM Punk selling their soul and becoming corporate with The Rock on his side, and Cody is going to have an uphill battle. Again, we want to see that obstacle breathing on the neck on Cody Rhodes. And who can make, and here's another thing, we'll hear from you guys. I want to hear from the nation. I want to hear from the world, from the Jedi Nation. Let's go. I want to hear, because now Rock can make things happen. As a board member, John Cena sells his soul to The Rock. John Cena now could go to TNA and take on Joe Henry, because Rock can make it happen. He could broker that deal. Remember, he mentioned all the heads on that press conference. Artie Emanuel, he talks to Nick Khan, to Paul Levesque. So, what's your thoughts there, Chris?
It was different for sure, rather than like the final. But not different because he's played into that. I am a board member. We saw Seth Rollins call him out on that at last year's little press conference they did right before Vegas, or right before WrestleMania that they did in Vegas. But a lot of I'm seeing a lot of things online, and we're talking about R. Emanuel, Nick Khan, TKO. Everyone online is saying since TKO has taken over, and hear me all the way, people online, I think this is BS in my opinion. Is TKO ruining WWE? Not the business, the product. We know they're making money, the most money they've ever made. We know they're generating ticket sales. But is TKO ruining the WWE product? I don't believe it, and I do, but I don't. And the reason why I say I don't to a little more is because I see a lot of this Triple H book. Maybe TKO's in his ear a little bit. Somebody's like, hey, or we gotta put The Rock. Certain people they want to see, especially on Netflix. And that's a whole other stuff. We'll talk about Raw later, but when it comes to TKO as a whole, I don't see the booking from other people. To me, this is a Triple H booking. He's pushing his favorites. His favorites that we've seen him on NXT are the same people on Raw. Candice LeRae, if TKO was booking the show, Candice LeRae would not be on SmackDown cutting a promo out there. She just wouldn't. Now I hear what you guys are saying, right? I mean, ever since they took over, ticket sales have been a little pricey. But they're going into hot markets. The product is hot. I mean, you're getting what you pay for. They extended the show 3 hours. I mean, we can criticize Triple H's booking, and I think we will later. But because we still have so many shows to talk about. But it's a little. That's something I've been seeing around, Kev. Is TKO's ruining the product? What do you think?
Hey, here's twofold. I think we're so used to, or we're programmed to a Vince McMahon product for over 40 plus years since he's been running the WWE on TV. And when it became, regardless of the fact, I think when the WWE Rockin' Wrestling, I'm not talking about the final boss, the Rockin' Wrestling back in 1984, 85, when the first WrestleMania on, I think you could say wrestling has WWE has became mainstream. We could debate that all you want, if you like or not. I think wrestling became mainstream after WrestleMania 1. Ever since it's been mainstream, we've been programmed or at least desensitized or whatever to think of the Vince McMahon type of product brand. TKO coming in, everyone was excited. They wanted a new ownership. They thought things were going to be a little, and they are different. Now where certain things are happening, where TKO is putting their imprint or their identity in the wrestling on the business moniker, we're not liking it. We're like, wait a minute, whoa, it's not what we were programmed to. We're not programmed to this, pal. And now that I think that's upsetting the apple cart as a wrestling fan. But TKO likes to incorporate the celebrities. When you watch a UFC coverage, they always go to at cage side. Who's there? Who's not there? Who's who? You know, you want to be seen at a cage side before a big fight, right? They incorporated some good stuff to the WWE, something fresh, something new, advertising on the apron. Some of us like it, don't like it, whatever the case is, growing the product. Where I think Triple H is in a corner where he has to show that the company is making money and there's progress, what's best for business, that is business Monica. And I think it persuades him to want to always book people that are draw, not take chances on up-and-comer or someone that we're not known for, because I don't think he doesn't have the luxury. I don't think he's secure enough or don't feel comfortable enough in his skin that he can make newer talent, you know, or not force-fed, but make new up-and-coming stars out of nowhere. That's why the NXT product is there to help him. He's gonna just take the all-stars and just go with it. He's the guy that's gonna Triple H right now. To make an analogy with other sports, it feels like he's booking the dream team. He's Coach Krzyzewski, he's Chuck Daly, he's those head coaches and you're gonna give him the dream team or Team USA and coach them. While Shawn Michaels, Matt Bloom, Terry Taylor, you know, Norman Smiley, all the coaches down in NXT, they're working the trenches to develop those wrestlers for the dream team, and they'll bring in some guys from the outside, from other companies, independent scene that are ready, and I think that's what it is when it comes to TKO, because they got to show their revenues are growing. They got to show they're making a profit, because maybe we got to, you know, we already saw SmackDown make a change in the head writer, and now the Road Dogg Jesse James, you know, is now the head writer of SmackDown. Why? SmackDown was running well. Now because they think, you know, they lost a couple of million people here and there. It's Friday night, man. It's tough for a Friday night for people to stay home for 3 hours to stay and watch that product on a Friday night. Yes, if you got those numbers, they're not declining under 1 million. They kind of panic to me. It's about numbers and not really the investment of the fan base. They just care about the numbers. They care about the gates. They care about people coming in. And, you know, and that's an issue when it comes to TKO. They don't really respect the product, the love of the art of professional wrestling. They only love and respect the dollars and cents and the money, analytics parts of it, if that makes sense.
I agree 100%. That's why, you know, I'm strictly talking about the business right now. I'm not talking about the actual product. When it comes to the business part of things, I agree with Kev 100%. They care about dollars. They post every week about how much every show's a new. I don't think Triple
a new
H
platform.
I don't think Triple H really wants to go out there every single pay-per-view and announce it. Like, they do three different segments on these. You know, during the shows, Michael Cole's out there. They're showing the graphic. Hell, sometimes they have guys like John Cena and The Rock to come out just to tell him, you guys had the highest gate. Like, to me, that's a problem, because again, I don't think they respect the product. They respect the money that they bring into their pockets. I when it comes to the actual product, I don't think they're in the way of, like, push this to an extent. I agree with Kev a little bit. I think it's more on Triple H and the writers back there. I think they don't want to take that chance. But I think that's why NXT is good. It's a system to help Triple H, to help Triple H get these stars. Shawn Michaels, you know, Kev really, he nailed it. All those guys down there, Matt Bloom, Shawn, they're all doing a good job getting these guys ready for Triple H and the main roster. But I hope the TKO, Ari Emanuel, all of them. I hope they don't get involved in the product to where they're the ones telling who to book the show, because they don't know the fucking show. They don't
I think
know
that's why
more
they got
about-
The Rock. I think that's
They
where The
don't
Rock
know-
comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're you can't go to Triple H and say this is how you're gonna run shit Monday Night Raw. You're gonna tell me how to run Monday Night Raw? I've been under Vince's wing for over 20 years.
Correct.
Watching him build this, you're gonna tell me how to no. So I hope it doesn't get to that, but again, this is where The Rock plays out. And I actually respect The Rock, because although we're all giving him shit right now, I'm giving him shit right now, he doesn't forget where he comes from, the wrestling business. I mean, people might think it's a bad, The Rock's on the board. No, it's not that bad, because when, at the end of the day, if a guy like Ari Emanuel wants to go out there and make a decision, like, let's get Triple H out of head of creative. Just an example. The Rock is that guy, like, no. We're not gonna throw him out. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yes.
I agree with you 100% on that. I just they're just a little money hungry right now, and they have
That's what
the
it is.
UFC. So I don't understand why it's, you know what I mean? They have the UFC, which is drawing way more people. What? No. The UFC is drawing way more money than WWE. So I don't see why they would have to get involved like that, in my opinion.
All right.
Because they're not doing it with Dana. And your sons review the show. They know better than me. You guys can go check them out. They do a good job reviewing UFC. But they would know they're not getting involved with Dana White. So I don't think they're going to get involved with Triple H.
And Chris asked a good question. He says, do you think they'll go back to Thursdays? I don't think so, because right now that's TNA territory right now, and they found their niche on Friday nights. And again, it's not a good night to put it on, to be honest with you. Friday night, people tend, young people tends to go out and stuff like that. Yes, we are currently live, so please hit that like button. We are live right now. Salute to everyone that's joining us here on a Saturday afternoon. We're talking all about professional wrestling and so forth there. I wanted to also give a shout out to Nora Hazel for you. So salute. What's going on, man? Salute. All the same social handles on my Discord and Insta. So you can find me there. And of course, we appreciate it. Reach out. We definitely want to help you promote as well. But we appreciate you. We wanted to shout you out there. Of course, you can email me as well as in the video description. We'll definitely answer you back. But we are live currently right now. So we have to stay with our live situation here going on. And we're talking about The Rock's promo. We're talking about TKO, Triple H with the booking. He feels like he has to book to a dream team type of deal. And it gets to our next thing that is going all over the internet right now. The woman deserves better #. Now, here's my thoughts. I've been waiting all week to talk about this and wanted it when I saw that happening. When it comes to the women of the professional wrestling, we are, at least I want to consider myself, I'm not trying to throw any flowers or any I'm not looking for any validation. My opinion is the women get pushed well. They need to get pushed more, but we need to get pushed more women. We need to get pushed the B-Fabs. We need the Mitchins. We need to pick, we made these mid-card titles, ladies and gentlemen, and we need more of the mid-card title women invested on Friday nights in the 3-hour show. Netflix as well. And there's nothing wrong when look, Liv Morgan is phenomenal eye candy. Look at, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, she checks all the boxes and everything, but I'm kind of a little bit tired of seeing her in every show. This, wrestling here and there. You had a phenomenal 2024, Liv. You're a crown jewel champion. You were world champion. You had a hell of a story with Dominic Mysterio in the Judgment Day and taking everything away from Rhea Ripley. I don't need to see you every night. The same thing goes with and I know they're the women tag team champions, Naomi and Bianca. They're supposed to be across all the brands because they're defending their tag titles. That's great. There was no need, and people are up in arms complaining about the match that got a little shortchanged between Naomi and Liv. We've seen this match. And what was the one thing when I started watching covering as a content creator of professional wrestling about 3-4 years ago, 50-50 booking and repeat matches. This is becoming repetitive with Liv, Bianca, Raquel, Naomi, and there's a story, yes, but it's becoming a little. And you guys yourself were complaining about seeing Liv and Rhea. There's other women on this roster. Where is Kiana James? Where is Kaden and Katana? You should be up in arms for the women that are being on TV, because when they get released, you act like you were disappointed and upset. Case in point, Raquel Rodriguez came out a couple of weeks ago on a singles competition, and you guys were quiet in the arena. No pop. Give her booze then. She's with the Judgment Day, and she's on a heel fashion. Give her booze, or at least go to away heat. What's going on, J-Rock in the building? Give her at least the go away boo heat. But when you don't boo or you don't say anything, there's crickets. That's worse for a booker to hear, an agent, and a wrestler. So when they release them, don't get up in arms and upset like the way Carmella. Now, Carmella was an injury. She went on maternity leave. She's not released. She's not fired. Contract has expired. So why should they pay her if they're not have anything for her right now? Once she's ready to return to work, once she's ready to wrestle, there'll be a contract for her for dates. The same thing was with Alexa Bliss. You guys were all up in arms with Alexa, where she just went on maternity leave. A contract expired. She made it before the Rumble. A new contract was given to her because she's ready to come back and wrestle with some dates and provide the company. Remember, this is not Vince anymore. This is TKO now. TKO does that with their greatest fighters. They allow Francis Ngannou to go. Okay, Francis Ngannou is one of their top fighters in the heavyweight division, where heavyweights draw. He's not with UFC over money and contract dispute. They're not afraid of letting the fighters go. That's the TKO mentality. And sure as hell, they're not going to worry about wrestling, where it's scripted, predetermined, Chris.
I agree. If you guys don't know who Francis is, he's one of the most hard-hitting heavyweights, in this era. They let him go, like you said. So they don't care about releasing people. But I want to go back to the mid card scene real quick. To me, I don't think they're doing stories with these mid card titles. It's just matches. Chelsea Green, I love her. I love her gimmick. I love her US. Salute to me, all this. But she's still doing this backstage BS with Nick Aldis instead of giving her feuds with somebody. Instead of it still seems like her and Piper are a tag team. It doesn't seem like Chelsea is the champion with Piper behind her. It might to some people. To me, it does not. Lyra Valkyria, my girl, you are amazing in the ring. But I'm not a fan. To me, to be a fan of women wrestling, I need, and just as male wrestling, actually, all wrestling, I need some character. I need something that gets my eye. That I'm interested. You just don't have that for me. I'm not too interested in your character, but I want you to get into some type of feud with somebody on Monday Night Raw, like a Natalia. They're going into Elimination or Canada. You're gonna tell me you couldn't had a little feud with her in a match there. There's certain people like Zelina Vega. Where the fuck has she been?
She did a vignette last night. She's returning, like she's coming back to the company.
Okay, cool. Have her do something, or so I assume she'll be on SmackDown, so she can do something with Chelsea. Like you said, there's more women that need to be in that spot. You can't just have you. It's okay to have these matches. But you need to draw the story, because right now when Lyra comes out, I don't care too much. And she's a champion. Make me invest in your champion a little more. That's why you got him. You got him because the women deserve better, and you got him for that reason. It's just it to me for WrestleMania season, I don't want to say it's the same 3 to 4 people. But they get mixed.
It is,
right? So
it is the same women. It's the same women. Let's be honest, Chris. It's the same women being pushed over and over.
I'm getting there, right? So I'm gonna say it's more that it is more of the same. But the reason why I said kind is, this year, they had EO, they have Tiffany this year. They throw in some they throw in some fresh people, right? But when you're talking about like the title matches, Kev, it's always Rhea, it's always Charlotte if she's healthy, it's always Becky if she's healthy, it's always Bianca if she's in that singles run. It's it's even Bayley. And I know she had it last year, but she's in that run. It was Sasha when she was there. It's always been It's always been the same 3 to 4 women that they push for WrestleMania, and then they'll throw in like Tiffany, she's champion now. They'll throw in like Io, she's champion, but they lose it. They lose it at WrestleMania. I'm not saying Tiffany's gonna lose it, but I mean, when you have Rhea and Becky, right, any of those can win. But when you have Io and Bayley, I mean, you're gonna have Bayley go over at your biggest show. She's one of your big stars. So for the WrestleMania season, I have a problem with the women's booking, because of that reason right there. And like you said about repetitive, why is Liv Morgan still care about Rhea Ripley? She took her man, she took her faction, she took her title. She did everything she said she was gonna do. Yes. Let it go. Let it go. You guys aren't even on the same fucking brand anymore, excuse my language. But you guys aren't on the same brand. And what, now she's possibly going to go win the Elimination Chamber just so we could run back a SummerSlam match? There's nothing to do any... They didn't have their match at... I'm talking about they had their match at SummerSlam.
Oh, got you.
So like we're gonna run a match back that we just saw at SummerSlam less than a year ago at WrestleMania. I just don't... I don't want to see it. But at the same time, Kev, it's like, who else could win? That could make sense to fight Rhea at that. You know what I'm saying? Because the story isn't there with anyone else but Liv, in my opinion.
That's why we asked this question before we got into this rant. Is it Triple H or is it TKO? Where when I mean TKO, he's got to show great numbers. People want to, I got to give matches where people are going to get invested. I don't have the time to Triple H in creative don't feel like they have the time to develop these young women where they're going to get crickets.
He won't put those mid-card titles on WrestleMania. Sorry.
That's the issue.
I'll be surprised.
That's the issue. Is that because of TKO or is that because of Triple H scared?
That's because of TKO.
Exactly. So we can't get bothered with and call Triple H a fraud. Where the man does push a lot. Between him and Sean, they push a lot of women wrestling. They're
Sean's the best booker when it comes to.
But he's the best booker. But he's gonna get some heat in a minute from myself. I love Shawn Michaels, but I'm gonna give him some heat as well in a second. I personally they could have had a chance where backstage, quick 30 seconds to a minute backstage where Lyra Valkyria wants to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and you have Natalya say, why should you qualify for, you're already Intercontinental Champion, Women's Champion. I should be in the Elimination Chamber. I need a chance at the world title. Let them have an argument leading into a match, an Intercontinental match between Lyra Valkyria and Natalya in her own country in Canada. Bam! You're invested. Because you know what? Can is the hometown, even if Lyra goes over, the massive heat, and Lyra isn't supposed to be getting heat because she's a babyface, but still, you got people invested, right, wrong, or indifferent. They're invested because the pomp and circumstance, the enthusiasm of seeing Natalya possibly winning the Intercontinental title in Canada is a big draw, and that would have been for the crowd. And again, I know they don't book for the house; they book for the TV audience because that's the way you're supposed to book. The crowd is already there because they bought their tickets. You got them. You have to now invest. And that's an issue that happens for all elite wrestling. They don't know how to book for the international or the viewing audience. They book for the house at the moment for the 1,500 people that show up. Where WWE don't care about the 19,000. You already paid. You're in. They're worrying about the millions and millions that are watching across their platforms. And that's the issue that's happening. I would have liked to see that. Natalya versus Lyra Valkyria investment there because why should you're already champion? Why are you trying to, there's nothing wrong of upgrading if you're Intercontinental to go into the World Heavyweight title. I'm not saying you can't. Once you're in mid-card champion, you're stuck in taboo there. But there was to me, is a little disconnect. They just became inaugural champions and you're already putting them in Elimination Chamber. Again, that make a little bit sense. They're the king. They should be the queen of those Intercontinental and the United States reigns territory, where now people want to take those titles away from them. And I would have liked them to book that. Now, this Friday, we got Chelsea Green versus an anonymous challenger. Who could it be? Could it be an NXT call up? Because remember, not Heat Wave. Oh my goodness, we got WWE international. What you call it? They're gonna have some. There could be an NXT wrestler there. There could be an NXT wrestler coming up on Friday. You never know. You never know with that. I don't know why I said Heat Wave. I'm thinking about when they were in Toronto the first time for Money in the Bank. But my point is, they could easily invest us in the women's division with the mid card titles. Storyline. Piper Niven with Chelsea with that gimmick hits hard. Why can't we get a little more of some backstory of BFAB, more Meacham, their friendship, their stuff? Who wants that United States title? Make us invest and want to get behind either one of those women to take those titles away from Chelsea Green, which they're not. But give us a thing where you think they are, because there's something there that you like. Damn, there's something we could see. I could see a BFAB coming through, or Meacham turns on BFAB, or vice versa, because you can't get the United States title. I need the United States title. Vice versa. It's simple storylines, but then when they get released, we all get excited and get upset about why they shouldn't get booked. Oh my God, they should have not got rid of. Listen, I've said it time and time again, and I'm very upset with it. Indy Hartwell, when she was called up on Monday Night Raw, when she was drafted, she was the NXT Women's Champion. I understand Indy, aka Samantha, was injured with her leg. She had a leg injury when she had, and they made her relinquish the title. That's fine. If you're gonna make her relinquish the title because she got called up or elevated at that time, then book her as your undisputed reigning Intercontinental NXT Women's Champion. Book her like a champion. Don't book her like a jobber, because she just was NXT World Champion. What does that tell you about NXT women then? What does that tell you about the title holder of NXT? They're nothing. Once they make to the main roster, that means it's beneath, so they shouldn't be in the same level. That's the one disconnect I had with creative, where when it came to Indy Hartwell, she was the champion. Make it seem like that. Make her go. I'm not saying she has to be Bill Goldberg either, guys. I'm just saying make her win a couple matches for a couple of at least 3 months. Give me 90 days on the main roster when she's undefeated, and she never lost her NXT World Title, Indy Hartwell, and she's making a rub shot here on Monday Night Raw. Even if she goes back to let's say she goes back to NXT to try to capture that title for a moment, because you've seen that back and forth cross promotion on a Great American Bash or a Heat Wave, or later down the road, No Mercy, and she loses her first match. Oh, great. Then you want to keep her in catering. That's fine, but you want to still keep her booked hot and hard, because she was still your undefeated, or she was your undisputed NXT Women's Champion at that time. You didn't. You made her out there and you jobbed her. No, and you made us as wrestling fans. Remember, there's an audience now. Let's say, I'm not even going to say people don't know who these wrestlers are anymore from NXT, because NXT's numbers show you 900,000, 800,000 people, and the way when they leave the Performance Center out of Orlando, they show that people know who the hell these wrestlers are by the number of tickets and the building, the houses that we see NXT go. So it's not like before with Black and Gold. Who the hell is this? People know who Trick Williams is. People know who's a Roxanne Perez. My point is, they know who these wrestlers are. So you know what? You have to now continue to book them like they were in NXT. If they were on fire to get called up, you have to continue to book them that way. The way Tiffany Stratton. I'm gonna tell you this: what helped Tiffany Stratton was that crowd in Australia. What her success right now that she has currently right now, you got to thank Australia for that pop she got when she went to Elimination Chamber, and also that she's blonde. I hate to say it, guys, because she's blonde. We'll see what they do with Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, I think she'll be all right, Roxanne, but I hope they don't use her for just matches and not showcase her like the way they're showcasing Tiffany. I agree.
And Chris, we cannot get mad either. Here's another thing. We cannot get mad because we see it from the IWC. You can't be flip-flopping. You could, you know what, fan them the way you want to fan them. I'm not telling you how to fan them the way you want to fan them. Do whatever you want. But you can't be 1 minute, I need to, book the woman better. And then when we get Jade, I don't want to see Jade. Or when I get Nia, oh, she's the worst professional wrestler. Yes. She was.
Yeah, I don't know why people say that about her.
They're giving women chances, but then you're shitting on them. So what does that creative tell you? Let's not give them women because every time you put the women out there, they're shitting on them. You can't have them both ways, ladies and gentlemen. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. If Nia's out there, guess what? She's a female. She's wrestling. Jade is out there. She's wrestling. She's going out there. Regardless. It kills me there. It kills me there. But I wanted to talk about NXT real quick because I wanted to talk about the booking in NXT. One thing that I'm noticing about the booking in NXT, I don't know if it's hurting the women in NXT or not. I know they, and well-deserved, we want to see them on TV. When it comes to Stephanie Becker, Julia, now Jordan Grace, because they are main event women. They deserve our attention. They deserve us to acknowledge them as the top-notch women, but it's hurting the NXT brand. And I'm telling, and for a little bit. I mean, you're gonna say you must be bugging. You're hurting the NXT brand, and here's the reason. It's because you're hurting talent like an Adriana Rizzo, Brittany Reese, Carly Bright, Danny Palmer, Izzy Dane, Kendall Gray, Lola Vice, Thea Hale, Wendy Chu, and Ren Sinclair. Here's why. Rizzo, 90, almost close to 100 days since her last televised match on NXT TV. These are all women that have not wrestled on NXT TV, that were wrestling and they were part of the show week after week ever since these ladies arrived. No TV time for them. Brittany Reese, 91 days. Haven't seen her on television. She was with Enofe, and again, they're not the level of a Julia. They're not the level of a Jordan Grace, nor in the level of a Stephanie Becker. I get that, guys. I get that. Carly Bright and Kendall Gray. They saw them on TNA wrestling. They were also part of that. They were getting up and comers. Were getting some TV time. Neither one of them. 182 days for Kendall Gray, and for Carly Bright, 210 days that she has not been on television to wrestle. Danny Palmer is going to be almost 500 days. When they get released from NXT, don't go up in arms, because you know what? We wanted to see Bakure. We wanted to see Julia. We wanted to see so-and-so. Lola Vice, it's been 42 days. Lola Vice, who was a big signing for them. 42 days have not been on TV, other than that vignette where she was cold and you saw her nipples popping out of a white shirt. That's the only time we saw Lola Vice. We need to see her in the ring. We need to see her getting in a storyline. Because she's a big deal. You know what? She represents a lot of Latino women in the professional wrestling, besides Roxanne Perez. We want to see Lola Vice get in there. Thea Hale, who one of the hot incoming women, 203 days we haven't seen her on television. 203 days for Thea Hale. Thea Hale, who's so young and so energetic, and I'm not, listen, I don't like the Chase U gimmick. I hate it, but I appreciate what a Thea Hale does, what she brings. Her wrestling, she could wrestle. That little girl could wrestle, man. Great job. Wendy Chu, 112 days in NXT. We saw her in TNA. Great for her. We haven't seen her. Ren Sinclair, who's part of the No Quarter Catch Club, who got over her gimmick, who's finally became interesting to watch, Chris. It's been 63 days she hasn't been on TV.
Yeah, those are interesting statistics. I'm surprised about Lola Vice. She was on, especially her. You've seen a lot of these other women in person. You living in Orlando, you going to NXT, so you know a little bit more about the other ladies. But Lola Vice specifically stuck out to me because her IWC fandom is ridiculous. She has mostly guys, but she has people that want to see her on TV. She was in these great kind of blood sport type of matches, with Shayna at pay-per-views and UFC, TKO doing a crossover. She was a part of good street match. She can put on a good street match. she can put on a really good, like, she's one of the few girls on that roster who could do a violent gimmick like that and not make it look like just girls going out. Like, no, because she's an MMA fighter. She's a real fighter.
Right.
Like, she'll really kick your ass. So, and, you know, just by her going on the mic and telling her story, you know, she represents a lot of people like us. Like, that stat surprised me a lot. But now that you bring that up, I can agree with you on that one a little bit, because I think NXT is so hot right now with the women that people want to go there. Like, I'm sure Jordynne Grace could have went to the main roster if she wanted to. I'm not saying, like, she's seasoned enough with American audience and the American audience and television. She's wrestled half of the freaking SmackDown roster in Impact with, like, Meet Jane and Chelsea, like Naomi. Like, she knows how to work with these women. You wouldn't put her in the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row if she didn't. So I think a lot of these women want to be in NXT. Like, she probably wants to be down there because they're being booked the best, and it kind of is hurting some of those girls, because like a Julia or a Vakir, like you kind of just took the thoughts out of that, right? Like, you said it perfect. They had a really big name internationally, and you know, I don't think NXT gets that much anymore, at least. You know, maybe they did when they were doing the NXT UK. You know, when they were expanding a little bit out more in the international and in the UK British independent scene, but they've kind of fell back from that. And you know, it's hard to find two stars like a Vakir and Julia, in especially in the women who have that big following outside of the WWE. So, and you can market them in countries in Japan and Chile and Mexico. So I understand it, but it does suck when, you know, all these women, they're on TV. Some of them are going across for TNA, and they just get thrown out of the dust when a big name comes. Because again, a lot of these people want to be on NXT. Jordynne Grace could have been on the main roster. Roxanne's getting moved up. Now Bayley comes back down. Speaking of the positives, though, I do think they booked the women really well. The women that they have. Their mid-card women's title, the NXT North American title women's, is really good. I thought they did a good job with Vakir winning that. They did a good job, you know, her losing, her getting beat up. They did a good job with Stephanie. You know, people could say, oh, Julia just came in and won. I can understand that, but at the same time, Roxanne's getting ready to go up to the main roster.
Yes.
You know, you gotta have your big star. You know, like Trick was. You know, like Ethan Page was. Like Ethan Page is another one. But you know, we're talking about women. I think they booked their women really well. It's just, you know, it's hard. It's hard because you just don't know where to put Lola Vice in right now. I don't know where she fits in. And the thing is, like, they do really. I mean, I know where she could be put in, obviously, but like from just like seeing weeks and weeks of, you know, just other people, and you know, they put women's wrestling matches on a lot at NXT, a lot. I mean, every other match is a women's match. So I'm actually shocked that like girls like Lola Vice aren't being shown anymore, but. Yeah, that's I just think a lot of the girls want to be there, and it just leaves out a lot of talent that were there for a long time.
And fair enough, because we are getting to see Fatal Influence. Those are three ladies that you may say they're seasoned, not seasoned, whatever the case is. They got some TV time, and I understand that not everyone can get TV time because it's a 2-hour show. I understand that, and you're gonna get some ladies lost in the sauce and lost in the shuffle. That's why I kind of, and I understand it was either a TV deal thing, or now that Evolve is coming up, maybe we see these ladies more in Evolve coming up in March. But that's why Level Up was very important, because we got to see them, you know, get there. I'd seen a lot of Kendall Gray. I saw a lot of Carly Bright. I saw, you know, Brittany Reese. These ladies could go, and maybe we'll get to see them go and wrestle on the Impact Zone. maybe we'll get to see them wrestle and become a storyline part of TNA, so forth. And I know we were talking about this with me and Chef Dan. We kind of say SmackDown needs to go back to 2 hours, and dare I say, NXT deserves an extra hour. But we don't listen. We're not advocating for it. We just threw that out there. We were joking, half joking, but we kind of felt that way. Maybe NXT is the one that needs the extra hour, where SmackDown needs to be 2 hours. We're just saying. I'm not saying we're advocating. We're not saying before you guys go crazy and go no. We're just saying because of the talent that they have there, especially now that the men's continue to get bigger, as we're going to talk now NXT. We're a little bit over the place, but we're gonna try to talk a little bit about everything. It's NXT. We're gonna talk about NXT now. We jump. We're not staying in the our order since we're on the NXT subject. The men's division now got bigger because now you have Ricky Saints, who changed his name from Starks to Saints. Where I like it. My thought of it. Look, he's from New Orleans. I said it on the broadcast when we first saw the contract, and we saw if you're listening to this for the first time, we do playback. We do on the Playback TV app. We do the watch along. You get to watch the wrestling event while we watch along with it, so you get to see it. Not like here where you're just seeing us and you're seeing the picture in the background of Frozen. It's not changing, nothing live, just us talking. But when the wrestling event comes, you get to watch the wrestling event on the Playback app. So follow us on Playback Heal the Ring podcast, and you'll get to watch not just WWE, TNA, NXT, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and All Elite Wrestling Revolution. We'll get to them as well. And my point was, we got to see that on the watch along. I go, Ricky Saints, he's from New Orleans. Makes sense. It makes sense. He's from New Orleans. He's giving back to his city. And he's a fan of the New Orleans Saints and all that good stuff. Did you like it? I liked it.
I mean, it shocked me at first just because, he had the name in NWA, he had the name in the Indies, he had the name in AEW. So I was surprised for him to change it, but, I don't mind it. Like you said, he's from New Orleans. He's a New Orleans Saints guy. It's something fresh. I said the same thing about our good friend Lexus King. I said the same. Why is he Lexus King? We know him as Pillman. And look, exactly, boom, look at him now. I'm a big fan. I love him. So it's gonna work, guys. We know if you know Ricky Starks, you know this is gonna work out. I like it. I'm excited to see who his first feud's gonna be. I think we're kind of starting to see that. He's in a tag match already. I like him. Get him a little seasoned in the ring with some of these new talent. I'm excited for Ricky Saints to be in NXT. I really am. Me and Seth Dan were just so genuinely surprised.
I know. And by the way, you guys killed it on the impressions and views on X. That was great. And by the way, we've seen, and what a way to put it, because they put it safe. He hasn't, he's going to wrestle in a tag match. You're going to protect him a little in a tag match. We saw him in House of Glory wrestle here and there and a little bit of independent scene, but they want to bring him up to par. Also, curve his enthusiasm with his a little bit of adrenaline when he comes into the ring. When he gets that hot tag in a live crowd in Cincinnati. We put him in a tag match with Javon Evans. Wesley looks like it's going to be his first feud. Let's go. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Wesley, the
and he's
longest
doing his thing in TNA too. He's competing at Sacrifice, right? Yeah.
Yes, second longest reigning North American champion of NXT history. Yep. You put him there with one of the top-notch NXT guys to go with there. But I like the fact that Ethan Page came out. That was a little bit of a jab, a rib on the former company that they came from.
I love
that. Was
great. I'm wearing my AEW shirt right now. So as an AEW fan, that made me laugh.
That was cool. That was good to see them both there. And, of course, I like the Ethan Page trying to throw the rub that, let me guess, your first match is a title match. It really wasn't. It was a tag match. But he was, he was trying to put himself over at the expense of Ricky Saints, which was great. I appreciate Ethan Page's heel philosophy out there, coming out there. And that whole segment was awesome to see that there. But we're burying the lead. We're burying the lead. We were talking about Ricky Saints, but the crossover. The big crossover that we were waiting for in the beginning. No, that's the second one. To me,
I know what you're talking about. Oba and Moose.
And Moose, because that night, that Tuesday night was full of crossovers, because it depends on your fandom. You could have had Oba Femi and the X Division champion, none other than Moose, come out face to face. And of course, I like that he said he was going to burst his bubble, and Obafemi came back at him with the promo. So if you're doubting the rookie or the young, wet behind the ears Obafemi, if his promo skill and his rebuttal didn't get you, or thinking this kid is going places, he got you. No, your bubble has been busted. That's your bubble. This is mine. I'm inedible. I mean, my God, if you watch that promo, whoever works with him on promos, and beside the way, Oba is a smart kid. He's well educated, NIL student, went to college. You could tell he was one of those students that just didn't go for the athlete. He went to actually get an education. You could tell that by the way he conducts himself and speak. Was on what a hell of a promo, back and forth. Moose in NXT, no one expected it. It was something shocking. But speaking of shocking, and I'm going back to where Chris got excited to see no quarter catch club call out the tag team champions, but you saw Nathan Frazier and Axiom, who I think is the best tag team in all of pro wrestling across the board. So no. We want the legends. We want the icons. We want one of the greatest tag team champions of all time. We're going after the TNA, Jeff and Matt Hardy. And then the Hardys watching, and they cut a promo, and it goes live on WWE. It gets reposted on WWE TV. Chris, I'm going to go get some water. Give me your thoughts. I'll be right back.
I'm really excited. If you guys watched on the playback, I was genuinely surprised. I figured this crossover would happen at some point. I just didn't expect it to happen so soon. Same thing with Moose. But I said this so many times. I love this TNA crossover, and I love this specifically because it's all the Hardys right now. I feel like their mission, and they've said it a couple times, like on Chris Van Fleet's interviews. Matt Hardy has his own podcast. They've said it a couple times, guys. They've said that they want to be in TNA to help these younger guys. I mean, we're seeing him team up with Leon Slater. He still needs to get seasoned, in American TV, and they've done a great job pairing him. Same thing with Ace Austin. Shout out Chris Bay. I love Chris Bay. I am so happy he's doing better. I can't wait to see him soon. But when Chris Bay went down, and we saw Ace Austin do his thing with the Hardys, they painted his face. That's why the Hardy Boys are where they're at, is to put guys like Ace Austin, Leon Slater, all these tag teams that they're working with, to put him over. And I love that. It gives all these other young guys that are calling him out some exposure, like, oh, these young guys just called out the Hardys. I mean, NXT is about to get a freaking ratings boost just by them being announced. First off, they're going to get exposed to a lot more people. And the crowd, I think they sold way more tickets. I think the event's close to, if not already sold out. So I love this, not just because I'm a big Jeff Hardy guy. Jeff Hardy's my hero. I wanted to be. I watched all of his stuff in TNA as a kid. I've watched all of his WWE stuff since I watched wrestling. I'm excited for Jeff Hardy and the Hardy Boys specifically because they're doing right now what they're supposed to do, and that's elevate TNA, represent TNA as the tag team champions, as they've been doing really well, going on media with Joe Hendry when Jordan Grace was there, and make the stars of the future generation. And they're doing a great job of that, Kevin. I'm excited to see him next week in a live crowd, not just at the Performance Center, in a live crowd in Cincinnati. I'm excited, Kev. I'm really excited.
Yeah, Cincinnati's going to be rocking live. Here's the best thing about it. Not only that, you also have an X Division title, first time in NXT or history.
With hometown kid Lexus King.
And title, it is champion versus champion, because regardless of the fact, my guy Lexus King is the Heritage Cup champion, and and my goodness, if Alexis King pulls out the miracle or the upset, the mega upset, because it's not a miracle, it's an upset, and he goes on and becomes the X Division champion, I mean, this is going to age perfect.
Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you.
And may the championship be with you, Lexus King, because
Yes,
we're
sir.
rooting for you, pal.
Yes,
Thank you
we
for
are.
that,
We
Lexus.
always are.
Yes, indeed.
We always
And that, you
are.
know how much I'm a big fan, a big mark of Lexus King. I was a big fan of his dad, and I'm a big fan of him. So I've got the shirt on.
I've been
tonight.
watching him. I've been watching him when he was with MLW. I know all about Pillman Jr.
Man, I love his father, man. His father was great in WCW, Brian Pillman. I mean, my goodness, you know, his matches with Jusha Thunder Liger, and oh my God, you got to see it. And you know, the WWE, he wasn't nowhere close to what he provided in WCW, but he was still entertaining with the Hart Foundation for Pillman Senior and Pillman Jr., aka Lexus King. The sky's the limit for that kid. I'm enjoying his career. You know, I know it's going to get even greater, so I'm a big fan, and hopefully he gets that X Division title, but it's going to be a tough one. He's got to go against the system, and does he, you know, hopefully, you know, do they trust the system, or are we going to coronate a new king? We will find out. Is he going to get a new kingdom for the king, Lexus King? We will all find out, man. That was great. NXT, your thoughts of the night there with some memorable moments. We had the ending. We're not even talking about the ending where the Chef Dan calls it the Botchamania 4. We don't know the name of this group. We saw they wreak havoc. No one's safe. No one's. I call them the level up rejects or the level up leftovers because they were, you know, Cutler James and the guys that were on level up a lot. They grew, you know, you know, Dion Lennox and company. What's your thoughts on that group?
We don't know at all really what their plan is. They just look like some Shield or like some like what was that group with like Eric Young when they came
Sanity
in, like,
Sanity or Retribution?
It kind of reminds me of like a Retribution type of thing, like, or like I don't know, like the Mask, like coming at like there's a lot of that already. But I want to see where it goes. I'm not hating on it. I want to see where it goes. We don't know too much about these guys, all other than them posting some trolls or some hints after they debuted on Vengeance Day. Other than that, we
And
don't
that's
know
what we
much
got to
about
see,
these guys.
Chris.
Or
We
their
got to wait.
intentions.
We have to wait and see what are their intentions. What's their mission statement? We don't know what their mission statement is. We're seeing actions right now. They're laying everyone waste in the back in the locker room. Also, Robert Stone in his desk. So they're right now. They're obviously disgruntled, irate about something. Could it be that they lost their TV time and level up? We don't know that. We got to wait for it to play out. They're taking everyone and anyone out as a group. We saw, you know, Dion Lennox. The last time we saw him on TV, he lost a match and Trick Williams snubbed him. He mushed him or snubbed him with his shoulders, and he didn't care to take the back because he was trying to be this nice guy with glasses. He was this Urkel character, and then when he took off his glasses, he turned into Stephen Arkell. You know, if you watch Family Matters, you know what I'm talking about. He turned into an alter ego personality. Did he finally unhinge and snap and found other wrestlers in the locker room that, you know what, how the hell are we going to get on TV time? There is no level up. There's nowhere for us to go. Now, you know what? Let's make a statement. Let's make a statement. Let's wreak havoc. Maybe that's what that is. We got to wait and see on that for that group. And what the name of the group is. You know, we don't know the name of the group. We're just throwing the Botchamania 4 because the kid, when he put his mask up, he covered his whole face. Like, dude, you got to cover just up to your nose. He botched that up, and Chef Dan gave him the Botchamania 4. I call them the level uppers, you know, the leftover level uppers. So we'll find out what that goes there going forward. One of the things that we saw, Andre Chase in a match, you know, he took on Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe continues to be the heel. Keep pushing him. He beat Andre Chase, but it's leading to a match with Trick Williams, where we see Trick Williams being more intensified with his promos. We'll find out with Trick Williams. You know, we know his time is to the in NXT might be coming up. He might be heading up to the main roster. Who knows? But he's trying to go out with a memorable moment, a memorable heel in Eddie Thorpe, and that's a good thing. Let me ask you this: Stacks versus Shawn Spears, that group. Your thoughts?
I like Shawn Spears. I'm happy he's getting his own little faction to help some of these guys get over. I think Shawn Spears he's good. You know, he's a great in-ring wrestler, has a lot of experience in the business. I'm excited to see what he has. Stacks. You know, he's doing good stuff with the Tony D'Angelo family over there. I think, you know, that could lead to a feud with some of his members, some of his family members down the road. But I'm a little more curious for Sean Spears because I think Stacks has a direction that they could go with down the line. With Sean Spears, he's in a faction. He's not really in feuds. So I kind of want to see where they go from there. But I thought the match was really well.
I think Spears might be the North American champion. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would like that. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that.
I think
either.
he'd beat Tony D'Angelo down the line at Stand and Deliver. I can see that. Stand and Deliver.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that there. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to the head of Stacks. You never know. Although I don't know. But I think Sean Spears become champion one way or another. And that NXT. Other than one more thing, we saw Jordynne Grace, of course. Got in that six woman tag against Fatal Influence. Jordynne Grace looks dominant as always. They allow her to use the Muscle Buster, which that was a banned move in the WWE under the other regime. They're allowing the Muscle Buster there for Jordynne Grace. The Jordan Driver could be a little dangerous if you don't tuck your neck in. But that's inside. That's inside wrestling. That's a little inside wrestling. That's not us as a viewer to worry about. That's the performer who has to tuck their neck in when they hit that. Hopefully the performers know that and they get schooled on that. For that, I want to see something else from NXT that I wanted to talk about. Other than what was it? It was something. Here it is. We saw Last Legend, Jakara taking on Zarya and Soruka in a match that I was a little like, okay, I didn't expect Meta Girls to lose to Zarya and Soruka. I thought Zarya was going to turn. I've been saying that for a while that I'm going to see a heel turn from Zarya, but it looks like they're swerving us the way they did with Fraxium. We all thought that Fraxium was going to split. Nathan Frazier was going to turn heel on Axiom and Yoda. Now they became the greatest tag team right now in current in wrestling, all across wrestling right now. They're one of the best. Your thoughts? What are you thinking with Zarya and Soruka?
I think Soruka is. I think Zarya. This would be perfect for her to turn on Soruka. I think you could build.
Do you think they'll pull the trigger? Do you think they pull the trigger on it?
They should, because I think Zarya would work well, and she has for most of her career, correct me wrong, as a big, strong monster heel, kind of like a Nia Jax. And I think they could use that for Soruka. I mean, she's over. I know she's kind of getting slowly fading away from that little surfer gimmick, but she could. This could be a feud for her. We need feuds for a lot of these people. These people could be these girls could keep having great in-ring matches every week, just like they do. And I don't even like to say stuff like this. You guys,
we're going into that next. Right.
But I don't even like to say about. But you don't do what AEW does. Give me a story. I will judge you and I will like you more if you give me a story or a feud. Because then you're telling me you can put good matches and storytell. So I think I do think they should put the trigger, and I think they both could pull it off.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Soruka going away from a surfer gimmick, adding a lot of sex appeal into her gimmick. A lot of sex appeal. From the cleavage, and again, we're not complaining. Don't take it as a complaint, but we're noticing the difference. We don't see her as a young surfer, young girl. She's now becoming like a woman. Same thing with Cora Jade. Cora Jade was this skateboard, young teensy, and now we're seeing her like damn, she's growing up. Like more, there's a sex appeal to it. Now I don't know if it's done on purpose or not. Good, bad, or indifference. That's for you guys to interpret on your fandom. But we're noticing that difference in Soruka. Does that causes a rift between Zarya and So? I don't know. Hashtag noticing. There you go. There you go. Noticing on that. And I agree with you. We need some storylines. And that's not a problem in NXT. NXT gets you that. NXT doesn't give you the matches week after week. They give you a reason, rhyme, and reason from everything. From the attack on Robert Stone. From everything. From the backstage, people laid out. Ricky Stark, damn, this place is This place is dangerous. That was funny to see Ricky Starks outside of his not a wrestling promo, but just being himself funny. That was kind of that jab was hilarious. When they say NXT is the dangerous parking lot in all professional wrestling, but now the backstage is becoming dangerous. All those things I appreciate that when it comes to NXT. We're gonna give AEW some time because I don't want to shortchange them. They've been, upping, at least this Wednesday to a lot of people they had a better Dynamite. I've got some good stuff and some negative stuff with it. For it, I didn't watch the whole Dynamite. I watched 2/3 of Dynamite. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I did watch it. I gave it a shot. I gave it an opportunity to rewatch it there. Let's go right to where everyone's talking about. The promo between Hangman Page and MJF. They haven't wrestled, I believe, 5 years they haven't wrestled, or 4 years they haven't wrestled. Your thoughts, because these are the two big. When you talk about AEW, when they open in the doors and a pillar, because I know that gets thrown around a lot. I'm not talking about Sheldon, Leonard, Kutapali, and Wallowitz. I'm talking about the 4 pillars of AEW, although you could say those are the guys. But your thoughts there on those two face to face.
So, as somebody who watched it, I think because I saw this get some negatives online. I don't think this was negative. I'm not going to speak negative about this at all. I like this. Now, was this a typical MJF promo where he's taking shots, all that? That's MJF at this point, guys. We've seen it for the last 4 or 5 years. We know. But this feels fresh. Like Kev said, these guys haven't fought in almost 4 years. I can't specifically remember the pay-per-view, and I don't want to butcher it, but I think this is fresh. Now, they don't have a title on the line for it. They don't need it. These are 2 of the biggest stars AEW has on their roster right now. I think this could lead for something. My only thing is this. It is a must-needed feud, and I'm happy AEW pointed, like I said 2 weeks ago on this show, on Weekly Wrestling, I said, they need to push the Jeff Jarrett BS and give us this, and they did it. I'm just curious what happened with him, though. I mean, he's not on TV anymore, or he hasn't been on TV in a couple weeks. MJF has no mention. I mean, at least him and Dustin had a match. He hasn't had a match with Jarrett yet. So that's the only thing. MJF is kind of going from this guy to this guy, back to this guy, then to this guy. But this is where they need to focus it on, MJF and Hangman. And I think, they're in the crypto arena for AEW Revolution. They're in the arena where the freaking Los Angeles. They're not at the Kia Forum. They're not in some little. They're not at UCLA. They're not at USC. They're in the crypto arena where the Lakers play, where LeBron stays, where the great late Kobe Bryant made his name. You gotta give this arena a show. You gotta give this arena a something to watch. You can't just go into this show, into this, the crypto arena is a big deal. I don't care what anyone says. That is arguably the biggest attraction other than Madison Square Garden. So, you gotta have money-making matches, and honestly, this is a good start. Now, I have a lot to complain about, and we'll get to it with this show, with this company right now, leading up to Revolution, and I'll talk about it soon. But I want to hear your final thoughts on MJF and Hangman before I get into that.
It's a fresh set of eyeballs. 2 of the company I appreciate because these are not two ex-WWEers. For a company that a lot of people on the internet give a lot of crap to, because they got to use the old veteran, the old WWEer, the old returning, or the fade, hanging on like a receding hairline wrestler. These are 2 new guys that they made. MJF was he was born and bred and made in AEW. Hangman Page, becoming the world champion, his run and so forth. Great job. You want to see these 2 go at it. You want to pay the ticket, like you said, in a big arena like the Staples Center. That draws me. That makes me want to see that match. Yes. But we got to see what's next. Do you trust creative to see what's next? Whoever wins, or the result, the finisher between these 2, what happens? That's the one thing, and that's not. You don't have to answer it now because we have to wait for it to play out. But my question is, do you trust the way we've seen, knowing how this been being booked for the last 2 years or more? Do you trust them going in the right direction and who should go over, not go over? But I'll tell you one thing: it's very intriguing.
Hangman, or no, excuse me, MJF. MJF should go over.
Because I'm going into Robert Dinkins. Salute Robert. He says, who should dethrone Moxley, Cope, or Hangman? We don't know that because absolutely.
Sorry,
it
Robert,
should be
it's none of the people you mentioned. It should be MJF.
I agree. MJF is one of the biggest wrestlers and the biggest star for All Elite Wrestling. I think it should be him. But babyface MJF doesn't really work. It was kind of cute with the kangaroo kick, but it was not him. That's an issue. But Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't a babyface when he beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. When you could always go to that. You could always borrow from the past when it comes to that. I thought it was great. I can't wait to see what's next. I hope that the creative could book it correctly and all that. I thought, I saw that. One thing I'm going to give a little bit of a criticism, and it's not on the performers. It was the outcome, or again, the referee was that hardcore match, or that hardcore Big Bill and
Powerhouse Hobbs. I was gonna critique that as well.
Give me your thoughts. Let me give you my thoughts before I hear your thoughts.
This
match was a hard hitting. Two of the biggest guys. We know the company gets stereotyped for the owner not booking the big men correctly, or doesn't love him, doesn't book them right, shores them short. Whatever narratives out there on the IWC with Tony Khan about his booking of the big man, right, wrong, or different. This match was really good. Everything was good until the finish, the pending part of the finish. It wasn't a last man standing match, guys. It wasn't. The match ended on a last man standing rules. What are we doing with that? Those are the little things in a company that gets scrutinized and microscoped for everything they do, especially when the owner likes to go on Twitter and likes to go on podcasts and likes to blow his own self. You're gonna get the mirror, and you're going to get the slings and arrows when it comes to Khan, because he can't help himself. He doesn't know how to stay humble and let other people praise his product or his booking or anything that he does perfect or does right. When he does do it right, he has to blow his own self, and that's an issue. And then when you do things wrong, even if it's something minor, people are gonna make something small, or they're gonna die on an anthill. And that's the issue when it comes to Khan, Chris.
That, and when I said I was going to critique the match, I really should have said I'm going to critique the ending, because this is unrealistic. With these two big ass guys, this is unrealistic. A last man standing match over the finish that just happened. You're going to tell me Big Bill couldn't get up in 10 seconds? Really?
Well, you had barbed wire, which could cut you. I can understand the psychology of why he didn't get up, but that wasn't the advertised of the finish.
Wasn't the advertised match either. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't advertised as a last standing match. It was advertised as a street fight. It was a street fight. It was supposed to be a 1-2-3 finish. Not even outside of the ring. A street fight, you're supposed to pin inside of the ring. Unless it's like a false count anywhere, or like, unless there's a new rule I didn't know about. But it wasn't advertised as a last man standing. It was advertised as a street fight. And the way they did the last man standing made no sense. It looked phony. So I didn't like that, but I did appreciate Tony giving us a big meat fest match, because we need Powerhouse Hobbs on TV. I think if you put him in it, and I'm tired of, I don't like saying NXT, but it's like, a lot of these guys need to be freaking developed by real people that know what the hell they're doing. And NXT is clearly the freaking place to do it. And I'm not even talking about, sometimes, guys, when I talk about they need to be in NXT, sometimes I'm not even talking about on the show. They need to be in the performance center. They need to be learning with guys like Albert, Matt Bloom, Shawn Michaels, I know the Hurricanes in the main roster, but he goes down. I've heard people, work with him. Finley for the women's division. Steve Carino. So it's, when I say that, I just mean they need to be in that system for them to get a little more developed and booked better, because they're not doing it in AEW. But yeah,
Chris,
that wasn't the. Go ahead.
Let me get in real quick when it comes to the producers and All Elite Wrestling. They've got some good producers as well, brother. You got Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 holds, who could stretch anyone and anyone on the mat. Malenko, he wasn't the problem with Malenko. He had no personality. He couldn't talk on the microphone. He didn't charisma. But that man could wrestle, man. You see his WCW days, and I wasn't a big WCW guy, but I give credit to Dean Malenko. Was really good with the Texas Cloverleaf. He would put you in all these submissions. He was a hell of a wrestler who when it comes to the psychology of wrestling, Malenko gets it. You also have Jerry Lynn, one of the most underutilized man in all professional wrestling in ECW. Jerry Lynn put on some hell, man. He could go hardcore. He could also scrap it in the match, in the ring. So they've got some producers. Sanjay Dutt, regardless if you like him or don't like him. The problem is some of these guys are brought to the AEW to be producers, and they want to become on-air talent. That's
like Jeff Jarrett.
Why?
Jeff Jarrett needs to be back there booking the show, in my opinion. Not
absolutely.
Like Jeff Jarrett. Like whether MJF may have said something about, the reality is, if you watched, any of you guys watched TNA back in the mid 2000s, late 2010s, around that area, you would know it wasn't just Jeff Jarrett running the show. In the beginning when TNA started, look how it was, and compared to when all these other people Jarrett was involved with. So. But he was great as an on-screen character there. My point is, Jeff Jarrett, brother, when you were done doing whatever run you're doing, and if I know you're not going to see this, but if somehow this gets to you, please, as a day one AEW fan, I miss the product that I watched in 2019, 2020, 2021. You can bring that. You have been with the company for long enough. You know Toni good enough. You know some of these wrestlers good enough. You need to be back there, brother. But I agree with Kev. They have so much good talent back there. Producers. You have Jim fucking Ross, for God crying out loud.
It's an encyclopedia. The guy is smart. The guy knows. He was talent relation. He worked under Vince McMahon. He knows.
He was the head of talent relation under Vince McMahon. We wouldn't get the Hardy Boys without Jim Ross. We wouldn't get Rey Mysterio without Jim Ross. When Rey Mysterio went to the Hall of Fame, he called Jim Ross and said, "I wouldn't be here without you, JR." Like, Jim Ross has advocated for some of these guys. Like, he has seen it all. He's fired some of the people. He's fired some of the biggest names in this business. He's also hired some of the biggest names in this business. You gotta use your resources, Tony. You can't be. You have, like, me and Kev come here every single week and say this. You're running you're the head of scouting or whatever the fuck you are for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You run a football team in the UK. You run all this media. You run a big media business. You need people. And wrestling, you have in wrestling, out of all your companies, Tony, AEW could be your most successful. No offense to the Jaguars and any Jaguars fans in here. Y'all suck. And you guys suck. I don't think he's gonna get any success with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He needs to put all of his focus on All Elite Wrestling, and if he's not, use the people that we just said to help you.
Delegate. Put a wrestling mind to delegate. Nothing wrong with delegation. And you're the overseer. Nothing wrong with that. But when he has multi hats, when it looks like it, this is the product you get. But we were talking about the Powerhouse Hobbs match. We saw it was a good match, but the finish was a little bit of a disconnect. And something that I see a lot of people said it connected with them was Timeless Tony Page's promo open challenge in the middle of the ring.
You mean Timeless Tony Storm?
Yeah, I mean I said Timeless Tony Page. I don't know why.
Give me a break.
Tony Storm open invitation challenge. Now she beat Mariah May. Okay, rightfully so. If she went over, not over at her hometown, what's next for her? Because Mercedes Hogan isn't going to wrestle her. Mm-hmm. That's not going to work for her, brother. That's the only thing that's left. That's the only thing that's left between in All Elite Wrestling. So you blew through the whole women's division. Or Megan Bayne, maybe, but Megan Bayne just got there.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna not be popular.
Go for it, because I got something I'm gonna say is not popular either.
Take this damn timeless Toni Storm gimmick off my TV. I want to turn the TV off every time she comes onto my. First, she's timeless Toni Storm. Then she goes back to her character that she was late WWE when she came into AEW, which I liked. And then she doesn't know who the hell she is now. I don't like it. I didn't like it in the beginning. It was this cringy Marilyn Monroe wrestler. I didn't buy it. For how good she is in the ring, her character is really boring. It's not even. I don't even want to say it's boring because she has her. She had Mariah May. She has that idiot with the white suit. Like she has people that. Yeah, him. She has people that makes it good and that understand. Like she's playing like Marilyn Monroe. She's like whatever. But now that she's like by herself in that ring and she just keeps on doing it. I don't understand what was the point of being confused. What was the point of that? I don't like the gimmick. I don't like the gimmick. I love Toni Storm. She's phenomenal in the ring. I think she's the best wrestler AEW has in that company. Her and Sasha in ring technical wise, they're probably the two best in that ring. But where the hell is Jamie Hayter? Where the hell is Deonna Purrazzo? Like, where are these people? And it doesn't help that Mercedes Hogan is holding all the damn titles. Like, she doesn't want to get rid of it. Like, it doesn't help. Like, and this timeless Toni Storm gimmick isn't helping their division, in my opinion. They need a Britt Baker back, in my opinion. Tony needs to beg on his knees and do whatever he can to get Britt Baker back on his women's roster. Because this women's roster is a joke, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. I do not like the champion. I do not like both the champions. I don't like any of the stories. But I like Chris Statlander. I like Willow. I like some of these girls, but it's hard for me to root for them when I know that they're not going to get booked to win championships. They're not going to get booked to be on these matches. You're going to book Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale, two of your best wrestlers, and they booked them on a freaking pre-show. The only match I cared about for the women's roster, and they booked it on a pre-show. I watched it for free on YouTube.
And you don't see the social warrior, justice warriors out there. Hashtag, women deserve better for All Elite Wrestling. But WWE, where they have more women employed and they give them more TV time, main eventing, and they close out shows, they do all that. They don't put them on pre-shows. No one's tweeting women deserves better for All Elite Wrestling. But meanwhile, if it's WWE, you got people like Minerva. Oh, there's 3 hours bitching and complaining about that shit. You should, and meanwhile, she's over there. When it's AEW, she's deep throating the fucking product. Seriously.
And speaking of women in this roster, and somebody who I want to talk about this, Kev. And this is somebody who I was such a big fan of in this women's roster, who I think should have been AEW Women's Champion. But what is Thunder Rosa doing? What was that walkout with the chair? What is this Tijuana street fight going on? Kev, I want to let you go over because I know you have a lot to say about it. But what I'm going to say real quick is, what was this? What is she doing? Why is she having these collision street garbage matches? Why isn't she? And why is she going on Busted Open complaining all this? Girl, go. You should be in the AEW title scene. You should be the champion. You have the most. You're probably the best wrestler. You have one of the best gimmicks. You represent. You're the only wrestler, really the only women's wrestler on that roster that can represent Latino people. What the frick are you doing? Why are you going out? Kev, take over. I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I wanted to talk about Timeless Toni Storm, and then I get to Thunder Rosa real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't like Timeless Toni Storm, that gimmick. People love it, of course. People want to see, and she's in that same category, visual, like Akita Lyons. You got a blonde, white lady, Caucasian that looks like a sister with a body of a sister, and you're salivating over it. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it freaking 100% real. If she was thin like Charlotte Flair, you guys wouldn't give a shit about her. But she's voluptuous, like Nikita. You guys are going bananas, and she could be farting in the wind, and because it was her, oh, it was great. Oh, that promo was phenomenal. It's a visual. And if you look at where that Timeless Toni Storm gimmick came from, that's from the movie Queen of the Ring. She played a character, in that story, and now she put it, and no originality. She just took something that somebody wrote in Hollywood for her, and she took it in the ring with it. Plain and simple. And she got it over because she was coached to do a movie part where the wrestling fans like it because, again, the visual. Voluptuous, Caucasian lady that looks like a sister. Plain and simple. That's all. That's why she's over. To me, I'm not my cup of coffee, pal. Not my cup of coffee. Toni Storm, not my cup of coffee. They didn't like her when she came out with the eye block in her patch, whatever the case was. Whatever. Not my cup of coffee. Toni Storm, you guys could have it. I've told you time and time again, the baby face of AEW for the women's division should be Willow Nightingale. She's a homegrown. The women gravitate, the kids, the little girls, the kids gravitate. You gotta draw your audience. You gotta grow your audience. You need this. You know what? She oozes money of kids. But guess what? Mommy, I want the Willow Nightingale. Guess what? The parents, the father, they buy. They're the ones that you got to get in their wallet because that's what Cody's so popular. Willow Nightingale has that it factor. But meanwhile, like MJF said about his promos, they'll cheer you one day if you're the heel. If you don't love you if you're the heel. That's that. Again, we mentioned it earlier. Tony Khan books for the people in the arena, not the people that are watching, and the ratings reflects it. Because of that night, he'll give you this. If he's in Sheboygan, whatever Sheboygan wants, he's gonna cater to them. But now he don't give. He's gonna say F the stories, F what happened in Oshkosh. Because tonight I'm gonna, who cares what happened? I'm gonna, the crowd, they have amnesia. But it's the problem with that. And Thunder Rosa, you're on a media conglomerate. You criticize heavily all at NXT on Wednesdays with the pow crap that's on Busted Open. You talk a lot of stuff and you make a lot of, the women NXT should have done this, that. It's hard. It's difficult to throw rocks when you live in a glass house. What the hell? And again, you have a bad time. You better have a moment with the chair. But golly, that was so terrible. That was terrible. We're cheering for you. We want you to be booked in that company. Look, when you relinquish your title, you never got an opportunity to get it back. Your first match should have been your title match back. We agree with you on that, Road Thunder. We agree that you should have been, but total disconnection, Chris. Total disconnection with her. I don't know if that could be redeemable for a while.
Oh, I don't know, especially with the matches that she's been putting on. I mean, she doesn't want to get him. She's not getting involved where it needs to matter. She's the.
It feels like she's
trying to be this
mailing it in.
Hero. Yeah,
Chris, she's not like she's mailing in. She knows her contract. I don't know her contract status. I'm not assuming. I'm not saying. But it seems like her contract is coming to a conclusion, and she's just mailing it in. I'm not saying emailing is like she don't care, but she's giving that stuff, and she's going out there. All right, yeah, I get TV time. I'll do what I got to do, and it doesn't no real thought behind with consequences or repercussions.
I don't think she wants to be. I can't speak for her. Obviously, I don't know her.
We don't know, but you're right.
But from what I'm seeing and from what I saw from her in her earlier days in AEW, the effort's just not there.
The effort's not there.
I don't know. I don't know if she wants to produce, if she wants to keep doing her own promotion, running her own school. If she does want to be in the WWE, because she talks about the WWE a lot on Busted Open. I don't know what's really, and I don't know what she's gonna do. I think she should be AEW Women's Champion in that title scene, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because people are gonna think about this. People are gonna think about her matches with like Deonna Purrazzo that just weren't the greatest, and it sucked because those are two good women wrestlers. They just had a crappy gimmick street fight. and it didn't work. It just
Let
didn't work.
me give you this here. Again, I'm gonna say this statement. Even though even after the chair shot, after coming out Wednesday night, I wish they could knew how to book her or heat her up. She should be the one that takes Mercedes' title, the TV champion, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Mercedes always looks up to and says, and everyone knows who's her favorite wrestler, Eddie Guerrero. And she does the shimmy, or she tried to do it with the Amigos, where Thunder Rosa, gimmick-wise, no, you're not Mexicana. I am. Eddie Guerrero's, and they could fight and wrestle on that kind and get a feud towards that, where one of them wants to honor Eddie Guerrero, and then what you, my goodness, you could have an intense feud with a little realism in there between, she's fighting for the pride of Mexico. Eddie Guerrero would be proud, and then Sasha, no, because I'm such a hell of a wrestler who overcome so many boundaries from being a petite, smaller wrestler, just like Eddie had a battle against the Giants back in the 90s and stuff like that. You creatively, you could make it work where then you get a nice feud from a Thunder Rosa and a Mercedes Moné if they play that angle with Gary Guerrero's size and overcoming all obstacles, heritage, and all that stuff. But they're not going to do it. We're just wasting our breath with that. They're not going to go with that. That would have been something that you could get invested. But other than that, that for Megan Bain came out. What's your thoughts on Megan Bain's presentation in All Elite Wrestling so far? I kind of like her presentation.
Her presentation's good. Her presentation isn't bad. I think she's a good worker. I'm not too familiar with her, I'll be honest, guys. I'm not too familiar with Megan Bain. But she's been presented well. It's not gonna last long. I know how this works.
But
they do this with.
Here's the thing that I didn't like.
She'll get sent. She'll be in Ring of Honor in 2 weeks.
But why did they have this match with Statlander on TV for free when you have a pay-per-view coming up?
Yeah. I don't know. I love Statlander's another one that
that's pay-per-view quality. You telling me I'm gonna see Statlander versus Megan Bain if you build it up for the next 2 weeks? I'm gonna see that match. I want to see those two big women go at it there. Those two gladiators. I don't get it. And then all the interfering, all that. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get what they're doing with that. Sometimes they want to give you everything. Like again, he books for the town. I gotta give him something for the town. And then it's like, that's an issue. No, he books for the town. He doesn't book for week-to-week episodic television and to build into his pay-per-views. And everyone says that pay-per-views are bangers, but it's at the last minute. He puts it all together. Like, hey, let's throw this against the wall there. And speaking of against the wall, I don't know where they're going with this Death Riders and Cope and all this other stuff. Chris, what's up, Daniel?
What up, Daniel? Where the frick is the AEW title belt? I wrote down on my little script here. John Moxley, I want to ask you this question. Where's the belt? Why won't you come out with it on? You never showcased that damn title.
I got it around my waist, pal.
It's never there. I can't keep up with this Death Riders storyline. I always turn it off in the main event when it comes on, even though they weren't the main event. But I turn it off. I just give the match to Adam Copeland, John Moxley at Revolution, two ex-WWE guys who have a name for themselves for the AEW title. Cool, I get it. Market that. You're in the freaking Staples Center Crypto Arena. I get it. You have to do it. Can you at least do a storyline that makes sense? This storyline has not made sense now for like 2 months. 2 months. Jay White's getting involved 1 minute. Adam Copeland's getting involved in the next. And then you have your little boys, Wheeler, Useless, and all these people come out there. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's no clear direction with John Moxley. Nor is there clear direction with Adam Copeland. I don't care who wins the AEW title. At this point, though, if I would like to see Copeland just so we could get something else. Give me MJF versus Copeland. Hangman versus Copeland. Something. Move on. We still haven't gotten an answer why Marina Shafir is even with them to begin with. We don't know why Jon Moxley is still with these guys. We don't. Where the frick is Darby Allin? This is a mess. The whole AEW title scene's a mess.
Here's a question I'm gonna ask. Now is Copeland now with FT Bohr? They're friends. They're a group.
They're rated
They're in
FTR.
Yeah, rated FT Bohr. If Copeland wins the title, wait a minute. Didn't Christian earn a right to a contract? How come they don't tease that? They don't show that. They
did a little bit. They did it. They did a little bit when they were back. He did come out and he teased it a little bit, but have Cope win and have him come out. Boom. Edge and Copeland versus for the world title. Just give us that. Don't give us
another
this Jon Moxley crap.
Here's the problem. All those guys are wrong answers.
I know.
All those guys are wrong answers. It got to be Cole. It has to be Hangman, Max. Heck, even Jungle Boy would have been a better,
I think Darby Allin needs to be on TV.
He's in Mount Everest.
Heart and soul. He's the heart and soul of that damn company. I don't care.
He's too busy climbing the mountain, Mount Everest, and taking a poop up there that doesn't disintegrate and whatever.
Darby rather be doing these stupid stunts than wrestle on TV, and it sucks because this guy could be marketed as a Jeff Hardy.
That's one. Also, Sammy Guevara shouldn't be in Ring of Honor. He should also be wrestling. Yep. Like you or don't like him, he's an AEW guy. Regardless, this is where I'm like, why isn't Tony Khan really helping and pushing his men that help him make All Elite Wrestling on the map? You should be you're signing the ex-WWE guys for a lot of money. Have your AEW talent beat them. It's okay for a Sammy Guevara to beat a Cope. Maybe if Ricky Starks would have probably beaten Cope, maybe Ricky Starks might have been stay there in AEW wrestling. Again, I don't know, and I'm just speculating. I'm just saying.
Copeland went no. It's because Adam Copeland. I'm gonna say it's because Adam Copeland got his feelings hurt when Ricky Starks when they had that little promo. He went to Tony Khan and was like, "Get him out."
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly.
And I gotta give kudos to Ricky Starks, Saint, that he didn't really put names out. Everyone say, "Oh, it was Jericho." I think it was more Adam Copeland.
It was Copeland and Danielson, because he was. Yeah. I don't think that rubbed Danielson the wrong way too. If you go back and rewatch that promo, Danielson's like, yeah, he's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "What's going on? Like, this wasn't what we talked about, guys." And then Adam Copeland going, "Oh, dude," like he stopped himself from saying something. So
exactly, but we'll see what at Death Riders. We got Maria Shafita attack. What you call it, Willow Nightingale, like, okay. And by the way, my merchandise came in for the Death Riders. We went to Walmart. I got a pack of 5. I've got one for every wrestler. I got a Maria Shafina Death Rider shirt. I got a Moxley, a Willa Yuta, a pack. It came in a pack of 5. Yeah, I got my Death Rider shirt. Next show. I wear one every time before I go to sleep, or whenever I'm gonna wear definitely. I always got my Death Rider shirt. Yes, indeed. Shit. But this one is different though. This wasn't made by the All Elite Wrestling. This was made by Haynes. Yeah, I was looking for Fruit of a Loon, but I couldn't find it. I mean, I tell you what, I give you an insight. Use my promo code Walmart, and you save. You pay what $14.99 for the pack, not $29.99. Use my promo code. Go to Walmart. You get the same merchandise, the Death Rider shirts at a good price there. My God, Death Riders got to come to a conclusion. Could it be that they thought Shane McMahon was going to be this end all, be all at the end of that Death Riders? And if that's the case, Chris, then that's them going and not being impatient, immature morons, because you don't put a storyline until you have 100% ink to paper. It's like the person that wants to buy a house and they look at that house and I want that house. Until you don't sign the closing date of signing that paperwork, pal, you don't own that house.
I just can't believe people entertained it the way they did. I don't take I'm not one of those guys that take things from other people. I listen to podcast stuff, and I was listening to Jim Cornette, and I agreed. His take really, I really agree with his take. You guys really think McMahon is going to go to AEW? Whether they're not on good terms, which we don't know, whether the WWE and TKO don't want nothing to do with Shane, we don't know that. I don't see him joining AEW. I don't see it happening. Tony's a mark. We know he'd want to do it. We know we would want to make it happen, but I never thought it would happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen. It was a business meeting that had nothing to do with wrestling.
I agree.
It's just some idiot either planned or accidentally just took a picture of them at an airport. I think Shane is at peace with not being in the wrestling business. He has a son. His kid goes to his kid plays college football at the University of Indiana, I believe. Declan McMahon. So he wants to be with his kids and watch them play football. So I don't think he has any desire. And if he does have desire, it sure as hell ain't with AEW.
Yeah, we could see that. I could see that on there. I don't think McMahon is going to show up unless if he purchased the company. And which rumors has it that he wanted to take full control of AEW. And
who, Shane?
No. Yeah.
Oh my God! What? I mean, Shane. Look, he's wanted to do stuff like this for a while. Remember back in the day where he wanted Vince to buy the whole UFC. You know, he basically begged his dad to give him a spot, you know, behind the scenes. So ever since he was a kid, you know, at the back in the, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like, it's I don't see it. I don't see him ever joining AEW. No matter how hard Tony wants to push it, no matter how hard Danielson wants to push it.
Not while he's the owner of the company. Not while Tony Khan is the owner of the company. I don't see Shane McMahon working. I said it before when that rumors first came out. I don't see Shane working for Tony Khan.
Hell no.
Why would he?
I see Tony working for Shane.
I see Tony selling it to Shane, if anything.
Or that.
That's what I could see.
Yeah.
And they could probably keep Tony Khan as a consultant for a while, whatever. But I see him selling it. If that were to happen, I don't think it's gonna happen. But
they were saying on Busted Open how people were saying Paul Heyman should take over AEW. He ain't never going over there.
Paul Heyman kind of debunked that rumor when he says I'm a Paul Levesque guy in the Hall of Fame speech. So don't bother, don't ask, don't tell me.
Exactly.
Now, Vince McMahon was still in the fold, like the way with that power struggle 50-50, I can see a Paul Heyman jumping. I can see that. Because they could throw him Uber's amount of money, and I could see him jumping on that. But now, the way it is right now, I don't see
and I
Paul
believe
Heyman.
if I'm wrong, was Paul Heyman's was one of the first people that Triple H inducted to the Hall of Fame was Paul Heyman.
I believe so. One of his I believe so. I don't see Paul Heyman. I don't see him leaving Triple H unless if Triple H gets booted from creative and they do that old TKO ousted stuff like that. I can see that, but no. As of right now, anything can happen in wrestling. Anything can happen in professional wrestling. But as of right now, I don't see Heyman. Now, I'm not gonna say never. I'm not saying he'd never go to AEW. Anything can happen at any moment. Anything can happen in the professional wrestling scene. Anything from Tony Khan selling, TKO could be selling again. You never know. Anything can happen. Although I think they have to wait a couple years before they could do that again. But my point is, anything can happen in professional wrestling. So let's wrap up Dynamite here. The All Elite Wrestling Talk, because we got to do some TNA live. As of watching last Wednesday, did they entice you to want to pay plunk money down for this pay-per-view?
They don't really have any big marquee matches. I guess just the concept of, Revolution is People, I don't care what anyone says. You guys can say double or nothing. Okay, double or nothing is like the WrestleMania, but Revolution's a big deal. I mean, my favorite pay-per-view ever was Revolution in Orlando when MJF and Punk had that match, and when the dog collar. That was in Orlando, right? Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, and Danielson and Moxley when William Regal came out. Like, that was peak AEW. But like Revolution as a tradition, Sting's retirement, big freaking deal. So, and it's in the crypto arena, so just by that alone, yes. But if we're going strictly off the matches, no. I mean, unless they give us unless they, Hangman and MJF, that's it. I'm as the AEW original who hasn't seen those guys fight in a long time, that'd be the only reason. As of right now.
I'm not an AEW fan. We said it time and time again, but when you tell me Hangman Page and Maxwell Jacob Freeman, they're gonna wrestle, I want to watch. Be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you, because those are their original. It's not an ex-WWE guy hogging up, taking the spotlight, taking some time away. It's one of their original matchups, their original wrestlers that cut their teeth in that company, put that company on the map in their glory days, along with others again, but they were a main staple to it. I want to see that. I wish they would have left Megan Bayne and Statlander for there, because that's another women match that draws you in. Because they haven't mentioned a women's match, a world title match for either one, or a television title, a TBS title for neither one of the women's champion. But if a marquee matchup on a name like that, although we might get Marina Shafina and Willa Nightingale, but I don't know if that's going to be on a buy-in or zero hour or Casino Invitational, whatever the guy calls his pre-show matchup or card, whatever he calls it. I think that might get pushed. Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I got to see what he builds up more. I got to see what he's going to tell us more for Wednesday coming up, or even tonight if anyone watches it, they could remember to watch Collision.
I'm watching it for Gabe Kidd. That's it.
And speaking of that, Gabe Kidd will be making. That's why I wanted to lead into it. Gabe Kidd coming to Collision. If you know who Gabe Kidd is, this All Japan wrestler. Tell the audience who is Gabe Kidd.
Gabe Kidd is a New Japan wrestler. New Japan Open. I think the New Japan Openweight champion. I think the same title Eddie Kingston had at one point, like one of those titles. He's phenomenal. He likes to shoot on AEW in his promos in New Japan, calls him an effing mark, says this and that. Like, he's one of those guys that, like, if you put him on your TV show, you might want to have a conversation with him of what to say and not say. This should have been something on Dynamite, in my opinion, but it's okay. At least they'll get a couple of viewers wanting to watch Collision. But yeah, Gabe Kidd, New Japan guy, likes to shoot on wrestlers. Him and Will Ospreay were beefing on Instagram Live. They were saying some real personal shots at each other. So Gabe Kidd isn't afraid to go there. Gabe Kidd is a maniac. He's like an MJ. He's like, imagine MJF, just like with no filter. Because MJF has no filter, but he knows now. Like, okay, like remember when MJF called an effing mark on live TV? Like, that's like a Gabe Kidd type of thing. Like, Gabe Kidd would do that.
Let me ask you this: you think this is a throwaway pay match for Gabe Kidd? He's taking on the Butcher, which I thought Butcher and the Blade were out of All Elite Wrestling, but I guess they're per contract. I thought they were not on the roster. But
I just saw that because they originally advertised Gabe Kidd to appear. I don't think they said Gabe Kidd was in action.
Okay.
So now they changed it. He is advertised against Butcher. You are right. But I think he'll cut a promo after the match. He'll win and cut a promo. We'll see if it's a runoff from there. But put this guy on Dynamite, bro. I have so many IWC friends that I'm in a couple group chats from like my IWC friends who I met like when I first joined, and we still keep in touch. 2 of them are saying they're only watching Collision for Gabe Kidd. Put him on Dynamite.
Hopefully it helps them. Hopefully it helps their ratings. They had a great opportunity to captivate and get
There's
new
nothing
eyeballs.
on tonight. There's nothing on tonight's special, right?
Have
There's
you
no
all-
there's no Four Nations anymore. There's no All Stars. There's no WWE PLEs. None of that. Unless
Have
you watch
UFC.
basketball.
The UFC fights.
Was it a fight night?
Yeah, it's a good card too.
Okay.
It's a pretty good card. You got Song and Dong fighting, so it's a
Okay.
good. But still, at the end of the day, you had it set on the table for you last week with the NBA All-Star game with a lot of people there. You even put your top marquee matchup, and then it just tanked. I mean, as soon as that show came on, I don't know what was quicker to turn off the TV, Roman Reigns or the people watching Collision last night. You know the clip of Roman Reigns that he clicks the remote control and turns the TV off. I don't know what was quicker, the Roman Reigns gif of him turning off the television or people watching Collision, because that's how it felt when you look at the numbers there. It's not to crap on them. It's like something's wrong. Something is wrong with that. Something is wrong if you're in analytics department of AEW, which that's what Tony does for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It makes you wonder what numbers are you really looking when you notice that something's up.
They weren't prepared for Collision to be a long term. They put Collision because Punk and the Bucks wanted the A show, and they wanted to make something for Punk so he could be on AEW TV and draw more money, and they didn't know what to do. Collision was the best show of the week at one point. When they were doing Jay White and Juice Robinson versus FTR and those 2 out of 3 falls, that's the best tag team match I've seen in like 4 years. In any company. Go back and watch Jay White and Juice Robinson versus the FTR. They had 3 matches, and they had their second one was a 2 out of 3 falls. The best tag team match I've ever seen in my teenage 18 plus. And the show went downhill after that. Because of Punk's firing, and they had nobody else back there to dictate the show. Because Punk was the one, this is who I want on my show, this is what I think should happen. They don't have that anymore. The show was meant for him. And the him is about a main event WrestleMania. So, hopefully.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that because they have Revolution in a couple of weeks, building up, Elimination Chamber next week. So our weekends are about to get a little busy as we anticipate spring into and the weather to change in the Northeast, or if you're in the United States, upper North, with the cold and all the rain and all the snow. And I know Florida has their spring training going on with the baseball, but we're all waiting for that spring to come and bring us some great weather. And of course, we got some premium live events, pay-per-views coming up, not just for Elimination Chamber, but not only Revolution for All Elite Wrestling. We got also TNA has a great pay-per-view coming up, Sacrifice. But TNA was live from my home city in Orlando, Florida, on Thursday night, the Impact Zone, where, of course, we had a nice concert, Joe Henry concert, talking about the Rumble, You Can't See Me, and interrupted by 2 Boricua badasses. The Colon showed us up. We got Colon, Orlando, and Edward Colon comes out. The Colon brothers, you knew them as Epi and Primo Colon during the WWE days. Epico, they both came in there, interrupted the song, but then out comes another one, and I want to ask you, do you want to walk with Elijah? Formerly known as Elias shows up. There it is.
I do.
And he wants to walk with him.
I've had this since 2018. I've been walking with Elias I've been walking with Elias since 2018, and yes, I'm gonna walk with Elias now in 2025 because this is exactly where I wanted him to be, and this was the perfect way to introduce him. Joe Hendry with the guitar, we know. As soon as the crowd on TV, if you guys saw it in the playback, make sure to join us there and watch that. We all knew exactly. It was like, yes, like it's that was the perfect way to introduce him because it's him. It's kind of Joe Hendry's thing. It's his thing, and we love the Colognes over here, 2 Boricuas. We know that. They're the perfect team to be on TNA. Let me tell you why. The Rascals, babyface. ABC with shout out Chris Bay. We love you. Get healthy, babyface. The Hardys, babyface. You need the Colognes. There's not many heel Like, you know, we got Eric Young, we got Callahan, we got all these. You know, he's not really a heel. We got Macklin. I meant. You know, we got all these guys kind of like heel factions.
System.
The system, exactly. The system. Yes, we need two guys that are two heel. Perfect. I loved it. You introduced two new people that made sense, and it works in the long run, because now you can have Elijah have great matches against people, because we know he's good in the ring. He can cut one of those guitars promos once in a while, because that's kind of been Joe Hendry's thing. He's the champion. But
Correct.
This was perfect. This was perfect. You couldn't have done it any better than this, in my opinion.
I loved it because we had Santino makes it for the main event for the night. Elijah, because not Elias, it's Elijah in TNA. We're teaming up with the champion Joe Henry, taking on the Colognes in a pretty packed house at Full Sail, the old stomping grounds of the Black and Gold NXT, because now they're in the Performance Center is about 2 miles away. Just to give you a little bit of an insight for those, you know, it's not that far away from Full Sail. That's where you have to park your car and take the NXT bus to the Performance Center on Tuesdays. Is in that area where Full Sail is. So it's, you know, full circle moment there. We got to see a lot of crossovers. With NXT and TNA. Of course, the Rascals taking on Tyson and Tyreek Inouye, seeing that back and forth. Got to see that. We also saw so many different things happening. I like the fact that the Tyreek and Tyson, they wrestled really like a strong man, although the Rascals gets the victory, but they're tapping into becoming this powerhouse tag team when they're using their power and skill. And the Rascals are the Rascals. They're going to continue winning those matches. You had Ace Austin at ringside setting up for a triple threat match. Triple threat. I keep saying that because I don't want to say trios. 6-man tag for later on at Sacrifice for TNA. So I like that, Chris.
I love it too. I mean, we're seeing, you know, Wesley's hustling. He's back and forth on TNA. I mean, it helps him, right? He doesn't have to leave Orlando. But he has to travel for Sacrifice. He'll be on the show next week at Cincinnati. So I like this. I think, you know, I think this could be the end. You know, we've kind of seen Zach Wench and Wesley. We've seen a lot of those. We saw them reunite, and then we saw them turn on each other. So this could be the end. If it is, they did a hell of a job retelling us the story of the Rascals. Keep doing it. I hope it's not. I don't see what else you could do from here.
I agree with you.
Especially since the Rascals don't have TNA Tag Team Gold. Neither does anyone else on NXT. So, but yeah, I'm excited for the match at Sacrifice. It's going to be really good.
And now that we saw that Ricky Saint and Wesley interrupted Ricky Saint, so it looks like they're going to go into that direction after Sacrifice. Yeah. So that's a storyline that's brewing for later on. You know, maybe for Roadblock or Stand and Deliver, but it is what it is on that there. But we had a segment. We had like a Piper's Pit, a promo segment, a stage segment. That none other than AJ Francis comes out. He brought out some ladies with them, you know, in a spot that got me a little bit, you know, caught me there. I thought we were gonna get something, but he got me. I got to give that to AJ.
Yo, he got you so bad. I was like, he's not gonna come out. There's no way. And
you have 3 different ladies there. It's good to see Catalina Cruz, the racing. Of course, good to see her there. Pete Barnum, the vignette. Of course, then AJ Francis said that he's gonna bring someone who's phenomenal. And then, by the way, Nick Foley, Nolan Foley's daughter was there, as well as some guy named Clownface. I don't know who he was, but some dude there. But all in all, when he said he's going to bring in a phenomenal one, and his name is AJ, and then he paused, I thought it was AJ Styles, because there's been rumors that Styles, you know, he was, you know, some people say he might be some phenomenal. Then Francis had a lot of style the way he said it. He said AJ, and the crowd booed because he said Francis. I was like, I thought it was Styles. Like, yo, they got AJ Styles there. That's dope, because AJ Styles has been plenty of time at the Performance Center, and he's made the trip to Orlando plenty of time. So why not?
When you first off, AJ Francis, I love the improvement he's made. I hate that he has me blocked on Twitter because of a flop dollar joke. I hate it because I'm actually a fan of AJ Francis now. The only it was long. It dragged. When we were watching it, we were like, okay, get to the point a little bit. But that's when he did the AJ, like that's when he was like phenomenal. We were like, oh wait, and then he like phenomenal heel work.
He brought it home.
No pun intended. Great heel work from AJ Francis. I don't think he's the best heel in the business, but when he's him saying shit like that it makes him want me to. It makes me want to boo him even harder. I gotta admit, AJ Francis is killing it. He's putting Navarro. He's with him. He's getting his time to shine. AJ Francis, whether I don't like to admit it or not, because past whatever, he has me blocked, but he has experience in the business. He's doing good things over at Fourth Rope. Shout out to West Side Gun. He's doing good things at Fourth Rope Wrestling. So I gotta give him his credit. This was a great segment. He got me at the beginning of the AJ Styles reference, but I like this. I like this. It took a little bit long, but this was funny. This was a funny segment.
And I know he's got you blocked, but I gotta give credit to someone who knows how to block the crowd in one of the most hottest situation in NXT and TNA in Orlando, put it that way, excuse me, was that Teresa Blanchard coming out to the crowd and cutting that promo.
Ready to go into this. Holy shit!
Let's go, man, because she blocked the boos and the dislike of the heat that she got. Talk about nuclear heat. That's the nuclear go away Diamante heat.
I have been waiting for this topic all day and since Thursday. So, I'm going to say this, even though I've gotten a couple people to tell me to go to hell. I've gotten a couple people of my colleagues that don't like it. I am a Tessa Blanchard guy. I'm going to say it straight up. Tell me somebody in any company, I'm talking women, I'm not talking about men, I'm talking women. Tell me anybody in any company of women who could get this much heat. Mind you, this isn't heat, this is personal. Calling her a racist, we're coming for you. This is some personal shit. And she's blocking it out. She's feeding. You guys are feeding it for her. You guys are making her job easy. Whether you guys don't like it or not, whether you guys don't realize it, you guys are making her job easy. And I love it. She's playing into it. Look, us fans need to stop being so invested in the backstage shit. I get it. If you're like a Sean Ross Sapp or like any of those guys and that's kind of like your job, do what you gotta do. Get your dirts around. But what I'm saying is this. If girls that are in the business, like Chelsea Green, I'm just naming some guys or some girls that, have worked with her who have previously spoken out about the situation. They have personal animosity with her. They've worked with her in the past. They know her. I understand that. Like, they have every right to feel the way they feel, and I have no right to tell them how they feel because they experienced it. They lived it. Us as fans need to stop buying into the, I agree with Chelsea. I'm on Team Chelsea, so it's automatically F you, Tessa. That's so corny to me. I look at Tessa's work, and I say to myself, this girl's one of the best heels in wrestling. She is. She is. She didn't stutter. She didn't fold. She let you guys, keep going. I don't know anybody, women, maybe like a Charlotte or somebody like that, and that's high praise because Charlotte would be the only other one I could think of that could do that.
I think so too.
And Tessa does a phenomenal job. So you got an Orlando, and I'm bringing this up because Tessa, one of the things I clicked right off of it right away. Orlando, why do you guys have to spoil some of the shows for next week?
That's Nico Extra. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call him by name. That's Nico Extra who put that shit all over. Yeah, you again.
And now
Nico,
I saw Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
And now I saw Tessa Blanchard walk into the ring. I didn't see who it was. I clicked off right of it right away. I didn't even realize. I thought it was a clip from them being at the show. And it was Tessa Blanchard walking to the ring. I was like, no. Like, I don't want to be spoiled. Like, but I've seen that twice already. So, That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
They
Please,
do
no
that. They do that
you
in
guys,
NXT too. They do that
you
for
guys are
NXT.
being you guys are being privileged to have this, and you guys are. It sucks because Kev is from Orlando. My uncle lives in Orlando. Like, it sucks. It sucks. But yeah, go back to Tesla because that's why I brought it up because it had something to do with her. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. I'm not judging her based on something that she said in 2016. She allegedly called somebody the N-word in 2016. I wasn't there. I probably didn't even hit puberty in 2016. So I don't care about the backstage. I simply care about what's being presented in front of my TV. She's the best heel in women's wrestling. I don't care what anyone says. Women wise, she is. I don't care. No one else would have. Anyone else in that position would have folded. Even some of the men would have been like, well, no. She said, keep going. She had something to say for everything. So, I shout out to Heather. Appreciate you for the comments. Sorry, I was talking to keep going, but I've been getting people calling me out for being a fan of her, and it's ridiculous because she did nothing to you. She did nothing to me. That's how I see it. Stop taking sides of people that don't give a shit about you. They don't know you.
I respect your opinion, your thoughts. Me, she's the top heel. You said Charlotte Flair could deal with that kind of heat, which I think so. So can Nia Jax.
Yes.
I think there's a few. I don't even think Mercedes. She quit the WWE because she wasn't.
She would cry.
Yeah, she would cry. She would quit. She gets shook in All Elite Wrestling currently right now when they tell her to, when they don't like her, when they boo her. So that shakes her. There's a few ladies that could do that. Tessa just continues to show it doesn't hurt her. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a breaking point for her as well. I don't know what, when, or where, but maybe she needs to eat a little humble pie, like Heather says. Give her. And by the way, salute to you, Heather. Right? I didn't highlight the other stuff because it's a little personal there, but my segment, my thoughts are with you on that, Heather. So appreciate you. I think for Tessa, she's that top heel, man. And what draws money? Seeing a baby face or seeing someone break her freaking nose, make her bleed. You're telling me if Marsha Slamovich gets her with a knee and busts her nose or a little blood, gives her a crimson mask, you don't think the crowd's going to go bananas? That smells like money. That smells like money. People will pay for anyone. They will pay for they will even pay for and no disrespect, for Zaya Brookside to be the one that cracks her over the head. And Zaya's like 80 pounds soaking wet. You know what? My point is they care as long as she gets her comeuppance. And what that does, it draws money, it draws eyeballs, it draws people to want to watch that product. Those that don't, agree or disagree with she said that, if she is, it is what she's being accused of, racism or not, whatever. She's drawing money around. Right now, a company decided to give her money to pay and bring money they invested in her. Now they have to get dividends. Let her work and have a dividends. Keep booing her. I'm telling you, keep booing her, because one thing we talked about, when you get no boos, no reaction, that's when the danger zone. They're literally in the danger zone because we don't know what to do with this character. You can't get a reaction from anyone. The fact that you're getting that kind of nuclear reaction with heat, that's money. Keep booing her. And for the folks, my fellow NXT goers that went to TNA and they did a double taping, don't be pricks. Don't be pricks, guys, and put the spoilers out there. You do the same thing when NXT does tapings. You go out there and put it on. One thing we always praise, and we look, there's a lot of fly-by-night Johnnies who are now doing watch-alongs of TNA when they're live. Meanwhile, they couldn't give Ugats care about TNA when they were being taped over a year ago. Like Heather's and I'm not looking for validation. Heather knows we would do those watch-alongs. We would be there when they were taped. We would do it. We would support. We were behind the support of TNA. Now that they're live, now you want to get down with the Kings. But don't put the spoil. Don't be pricks. Don't be pricks on and put the spoilers out, because when you guys, before you guys decided to jump on the bandwagon, We didn't care. We didn't go looking for the spoilers, or we weren't forced the spoilers everywhere. We were enjoying the product. And you can say, oh, that's why it didn't grow. No, that's why not because it didn't grow. It's because we were watching it. We were enjoying it. We were pleasantly surprised when it came out, even though it was taped 3 weeks in advance. Don't put the spoilers, please. We don't want to. What does that get you? What does that get you?
I've been watching TNA since they rebranded. I watched the first Hard to Kill. I've been trying to keep up with their tapings. I've never seen the TNA spoiler until now. Why does Orlando do it? I didn't see it in San Antonio 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, how long ago? I didn't see it in Philly when they were in the ECW arena, just early last year. That I planned to go, but I didn't see any spoilers. Why now? Why now? Because they're cross-promoting with WWE?
Yeah, that's it is. And look, Heather went to the tapings. Heather went to the Nashville tapings, and she didn't give one iota. Heather always was in our chat, regardless if it was taped or not. You know, she was a faithful, always on TNA or wrestling and whatever there was anything when we were on, before we went to the playback, when we were exclusively YouTube, Heather, because, you know, bam, always participating, always interacting in the chat, never gave a spoiler, never even nudge. You gotta wait for next week. It's gonna be, that's gonna be something you're gonna love. Nothing from Heather Wright. Heather, and I appreciate it, because when we watched it ourselves, she knew what was happening, but she saw us genuinely get surprised and pop for that moment. That's what wrestling is about. If you know, if even when you're gonna watch a movie that you're gonna watch in the theater for the first time, you don't want to predictable ending, maybe, but you want to see how you get to the ending. You don't want to, don't see the ending because this is so and so is gonna happen. You want to be able to enjoy it, the moment yourself. Let me have my moment as a wrestling fan, and wrestling fan wants to put it all out there and there you go, brother. That's professional courtesy, brother. That works for me, brother. And that's all I got to say about when it comes to the TNA, my fellow Orlandolites. You know, stop it. We don't want the spoilers. I know you want to try to put your name and become a dirt sheet. Listen, we all want to have. Listen, I would love to have credentials and be there and ask questions. I would love to have the heel the ring as well, but we got to one step at a time. I'm not going to ruin it on someone else's stuff, putting stuff out there. There's plenty of things I know about the performers from the performance, and I don't, and I've been told certain things that shouldn't be on the air. Certain wrestlers, I keep quiet because I could say, because Jedi Sports, I could do it to try to get credentials. I don't do it. It's not the right. It's not right. You know, certain things.
You're not dirt sheets.
No.
It feels like you have to be a dirt sheet to be. It's stupid.
No, I just want to react. I just want you to join us and have a conversation about wrestling. Let's watch it together as fans. A fan base coming together. That's all. I'm not trying to be this. I'm not trying to be Meltzer to put out a Jedi. I'm not going to give out lifesaver awards. That match had 5 lifesaver awards, in my opinion. I'm not that. That's not me. That's not. I want to talk. I want to have fun having a conversation about wrestling. I want to hear what your thoughts. Listen, I think if they should go creative this way. I would love but just because they didn't go the way I laid out the creative process of the WWE or any wrestling. Oh, this is trash. This sucks. Yeah. No, it just wasn't. It wasn't, from my point of view, the way I saw it. You guys want it different? Let me enjoy it. Let me see if it worked. And you know what? I'm here for the ride. I'm gonna watch the product. I've been watching it for over 40 plus years. I'm gonna watch it. That, you know what? A lot of people were tired, Heather. A lot of people, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Heather. When that SmackDown, I was dying for it to finish, because I was not because it sucked, because I was tired physically. You know, and I was so tired. I didn't stay up for the press conference. I told Terrence, we gotta go. And we went off the air and I went right to bed. It's just exhausting. I guess it's one of those weeks for everyone that it was just heavy. You know, it was the excitement of The Rock and all, but man, that was a tough one. You know, that was a tough one on that stuff there. So we'll see how that goes. But TNA, but let's talk about this here. We had a great match between JDC and Leon Slater. Leon Slater with that table spot. Oh my God, on the outside. Great job with that kind of that modified swanton 450 splash that he does on JDC. We saw the system interfered on disqualification involved. The Hardys come out to make the save, and the NXT World Champion, the inevitable one, Oba Femi, comes out, and the crowd went wild, of course, because that was mostly 80% NXT crowd that goes to the Performance Center. Because I seen them all. I know them. I know who they were. You know, they were all from. They only go on Tuesday nights to the Performance Center. I'm glad that they actually plunked down money for a ticket, and they paid and they went. They enjoyed. I loved it. Oh, Tether, no, we get you. They always get that rest, always that time out, that break. And I love to see that there. We're setting up a crossover. Oba Femi is going to team up with the Hardys. That's going to be an interesting situation there. I can't wait to see that going forward. Wow. Marsha Slamovich, it looks like it's going to be, Tessa for Marsha Slamovich. Well, we'll see. But Cora Jade getting involved and attacking Marsha Slamovich. I'm gonna tell you this, Chris. I kind of want to see if it's for the Knockouts title. I don't know if Tessa and Cora Jade. And I know you're a huge Cora Jade fan. I don't know if that's the main ticket draw. It's more Slamovich and Tessa. But I'll throw this monkey wrench. I could see Cora Jade winning the Knockouts title because Tessa interferes, where you don't need a title for Marsha and Tessa. Because you don't, and Cora has to do something different with the title. It's funny because the women's champion, the knockout champion, should be in that match between Tessa and Marsha. But I could see where if TNA goes different, where it's Cora with the title, but the grudge match is Tessa and Marsha.
That's a hard one. Because I love these crossovers for like title matches. It would be interesting, and I'd really be curious to see how they would book an NXT talent to be a champion, to be the world champion of the women's division, vice versa. So I agree with Heather too. Masha hasn't had the belt long enough. I think she kind of got that torch passed down to her when Jordan Grace left. And they've been teasing Masha and Cora for about a month now.
Yes.
So they do have to do that match. I think she would retain. I do think Tessa and Masha would be a title match. I just don't know how you would get to Cora and Tessa, because I think that's a good match. I think that's a match that could have a good promo feud. Like that match is there. As Cora as the champion is the part that's kind of throwing me off a little bit.
The reason why I threw that out there, one is Marsha and Tessa. I feel like if once that feud is over, what's next?
Yeah.
Like for a world title picture for Marsha.
Yeah.
And if Tessa wins, the Tessa you think the crowd is going bananas, ape shit for her wrestling? Imagine her holding the Knockouts title.
They would riot.
I will stop watching TNA.
They would riot. They would riot inside the arena.
That's why I say you could protect Tessa's investment in the company, because she didn't sign. She's not wrestling per paper appearance. She's probably signed for about a year or 2 year deal with them. I don't know how long Marsha's contract is. Don't know how long she's gonna stay in TNA. I don't know how long is her contract. It's all about contract. I would love to find out what her contract situation is, because I could see a world where I could see Marsha leaving TNA. I could see, with all the people getting all the crossover, exiting, Josh Alexander, so forth. I don't know. I'm just spitballing that out there. Again, like you said, she just got the title, but I'm gonna be honest with you. She's a hell of a fighter, of a wrestler, but she's giving me a lot of Shayna Baszler vibe in her promo. Character, Like even when Shawn Michaels talked to her and said, "Did you like what you see?" It was like, say something else. It was like, oh, that felt so bland. It felt bland from her. For Marsha's promos feels bland. I don't know if it's a language barrier, because she doesn't have a Russian accent either. but it just feels bland. And it doesn't mean she has to be going, let me tell you something, brother. I'm not saying that she has to do that either, but it's too bland. I need something from Marsha. I don't know what when it comes to her speaking. I don't know. Usually you had Killer Kelly do most of the talking at that point. I don't know what Marsha's missing with that. We'll definitely see where it comes for that there. And I gotta know, when is Kyla King returning? That's another impressive female. Can't wait to see her. What we've seen is happening in certain belts across the promotion. I don't want Slamovich to look weak because she is a killer. Yeah, she is a killer, Heather. But if it's done right, where it's Diamante come out, Tessa, hitting her with a monster shot, and Cora Jay's become opportunistic and steals the Knockouts title, she could get it back. She could get it back. Look, I would do this. I would even go as far as say Marsha gets it back at Stand and Deliver on a NXT TV, where you're gonna have a new, TNA gets put over on a TNA product, back and forth, but it's Tessa, because you don't want to see those two ladies go at it yet for the title, because it's where's the one thing though, I do trust Tommy Dreamer and his group in booking to do the right thing. They book correctly. They know what they're doing. So it's not for me to like, oh, that just sucks with their booking, but knowing the way, a little bit of watching Tommy Dreamer booking, he gives you the shock and awe value, but he makes it make sense down the road. So I'm okay with Tommy and creative, the way they book. I give them a lot of credit. They do a hell of a job. They know how to make a feast with a little bit of ingredients, and they know how to they cook in when it comes to TNA. Marsha may not be the greatest promo, but her work is great. And here's another thing, Heather. I don't think Cora, and I'm gonna say this, Chris, with all the love and respect, I don't think Cora's a great wrestler yet.
I don't think she's good in the ring either.
I don't think she's great. I don't think
she's good in the ring either. And it sucks because I think she could be, but her having those two big ACL injuries, her missing a lot of training, she's still developing that strength back up there. And I've had an injury, something like that, because of my football. It's hard. I mean, she's young, so that's a big factor. And she has time, but it's hard to recover from stuff like that. But I agree, she's not really seasoned well in the ring. I just think has great character, and she's hot.
I'll tell you this: if in the perfect world, I will have Cora Jay's looks with Thea Hale's wrestling ability. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. And I'm not saying Thea Hale ain't ugly either, but I'm talking about the height of Cora Jade. Her build stature makes her look like a great wrestler, a professional wrestler. I just wish she had the same in-ring ability as Thea Hale. If you're keeping it to NXT talent, for tit for tat, that's why I that's what I mean by that. But we'll see where they go with that, because it's gonna be we're gonna see an X Division. We're gonna see the X Division title being defended on NXT Tuesday live. The tag team, the TNA tag team title is defended on NXT again. That's great to see. Also, we're gonna see a lot of heavy crossovers for the next few weeks in TNA, because it's gonna be in Orlando. They're in the Performance Center. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be a lot of wrestling, a lot of NXT influence on that card going on for the next few weeks before we get to Sacrifice, because they already announced some of the matches to Sacrifice, so they got to build it. How are you going to build? You got to have some of the NXT wrestlers part of the build and kind of coexist matches and so forth there to gravitate for that pay-per-view or on TNA Plus and on the playback. We'll be watching it on the playback live, so we ask you to definitely come watch us on the playback, where we watch the wrestling event, not just someone staring at the screen like we are right now, but we actually get put over in a little corner, and you get to see the collar elbow tie up, the Asahi moonsault, the super kick party, all that good stuff, time and time again. Yes. Oh, here we go. Well, not to drift into old school mentality. That's a good luck promo. Clip's ability, no more 2010, please. Oh my God, he had a ruthless progression error. But hey, we got that for TNA. We got great stuff. We had this coming up Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, we're not really gonna break into it. It's been on for a while. We're just gonna say Monday Night Raw had qualifiers. Seth Rollins, right decision in the chamber over Finn Balor. Your thought on that one, on that? I thought that was one of the memorable moments there.
Yeah, real quick, not too much to add because we have been going on for a while. I want to see AJ versus Braun at WrestleMania for the IC title. I think they could do something good with there. I enjoyed Gunther coming from the crowd. Really good heel work.
That was great. That was great.
And my only thing would be before, I'm good is the New Day stuff. I really like it. Starting to get a little repetitive with them going out there and the Rey Mysterio. But I enjoy that. I think they could keep doing good stuff like that. It's just let's see. I want them to get in some good matches. I know Kofi and Rey's a classic. Two guys I grew up on. Two of the first two wrestlers I've ever seen live at the Giant Center in Hershey, my hometown. So yeah, but I thought Raw was really good produced. I was happy I was finally able to watch it for once. I'm not gonna go to watch it live Monday, but this was a good show. So thank you, Raw, for doing that for me.
And kudos to Roxanne Perez going into Elimination Chamber, getting that qualifying match over Raquel Rodriguez, and they told the story right because she was distracted by, again, for those that said the women's matches get cut and the segments get cut, but you got to see again Bianca and Naomi. And I'm not complaining once you see those two beautiful Nubian goddesses on TV. I'm let's go. Give me. I'm like Ryback. Give me more. But for those that complain, hashtag women deserves better. They're getting a lot. They're getting a lot of TV time where other companies only gives them at 9:20 spot, and that's it. Again, I'm just saying. So, yeah. Also another honorable mention: Pete Dunne versus Penta. That was a hell of a match. Penta continues to put on bangers of a match, but with so much wrestling content going on, you tend to forget on a Saturday or on a Friday night about Penta because we'll remember Penta. When comes Monday, he's the main attraction, but during the rest of the week, he tends to get forgotten a little bit. Unfortunately for Penta. Cero miedo, no cero miedo, my friend. Other than that, we got Finn Balor. I liked the heel entrance there for Gunther and Dakota Kai in that match with number one contender. Shocking. I thought it was Ivy Nile, but Dakota gets the opportunity to be the number one contender. You know what? Let's go. She gets a shot at the title. I got to see where that goes for Dakota. She's got the opportunity now. Go make the most of it. I don't know if they'll pull the trigger. We'll find out for Monday night. If they will, if we have a new Intercontinental Women's Champion. But other than that, this was Heel of the Ring on the Sports Jedi Network. Let's talk wrestling this week. So a lot of seeds were planted. The seeds were planted. If you're there, what will Cody do? Will he give his soul to The Rock, or is it someone else? If you missed it, I encourage you to watch the first few minutes of the video where we explain everything. I explained it's not about Cody Rhodes. I made two possible scenarios of soul sellers in CM Punk or John Cena and why. And then how that's that, and then how it's also going to tie into Roman Reigns going after his cousin for not picking him as the grand champion. So all of that and more. Of course, we gave you our thoughts about hashtag the woman deserves better. We talked about the women that are not being given the opportunity on NXT TV, how long they've been out of TV, where, and so forth. So we ask you to watch, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Spreaker, Podbeam, or anywhere you get your audio platform podcast, the Sports Jedi Network. And we appreciate everyone. We'll be back on next week. Next week is Elimination Chamber, so we might do the Sunday review of the Elimination Chamber. We'll see how our schedules, how everything goes. We're all excited. We're ready to go. We're ready to, to lock and load it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Follow us on X at BX Jedi 76. You can follow Chris at PG Chris TV SJN, or you could just subscribe to us on the Playback TV. Playback TV, all that's in the video description. Playback TV. Heel of the Ring podcast. I believe we're the only wrestling company, the only wrestling show on there that does wrestling where you can watch the show and watch the pay-per-view or the premium live event on the playback at no cost, because we're fans and all we want is the interaction, the subscribe, and just join us. I want to hear you guys thought about the wrestling match. I want to hear from you guys, and we definitely appreciate it. Heather, one more thing before we say goodbye to Heather. I wanted to say goodbye. Well, I will say it right now. I'm not ragging on the feminists or anything, but yes, Triple H needs to broaden his booking with the women. We think he needs to use more of the women, not just the same repetitive women, Heather. We're okay with, our thoughts real quick is I think there's more women there. We don't need to see the same. We don't need to see Liv every 3 shows or every 2 wrestling shows, which is great. She, again, for being males, easy on the eyes. I get it. Easy on the eyes. But there's other women, there was no reason for Isla Dawn to be released. Indy Hartwell, if they just booked them, Natalia should be getting more booked. We mentioned all that early in the video. Lyra should be taking on Natalia in Canada for that women's intercontinental title. You made this image card titles what we all got excited for, and we all wanted them. You should have gave us that match at Elimination Chamber where you have a country, especially now with the United States going, United States versus Canada with the World Hockey, with that hockey situation that happened. Would have been a perfect time. WWE always copycat what happens in pop culture or around the world. The United States champion is Chelsea Green, and maybe they'll do that with the mystery wrestler on Friday. But damn, you could have put that on a pay-per-view where it's so many different things, man. As soon as we finally get Jade back, we get that mystery solved. Yes, that mystery is going to be great, and the women's division is going to explode. I agree with you, Heather. Also, we were talking about Triple H feels like he's managing or coaching an all-star team. And because he has to prove to TKO that they have to have great ratings and numbers. So he doesn't want to take a chance on a lesser women where no ratings or ratings drop and then they look at him as losing money. We mentioned all that on the video here earlier, just giving you a little bit of a recap of what we mentioned and what's our thoughts on that, not to be redundant, but we want, it's a little bit of something, a little bit of everything, at least trying to be a devil's advocate or seeing from the other side of the coin. Although with Triple H don't need me to, be his lawyer to defend him. He can defend himself. But I'm trying to see from that perspective of why the women matches and they're getting upset that yesterday 3 hours you cut the women's matches for the Rock segment. Look, it's the Rock, bro. Even if it was Ric Flair, they'll do the same. Those are legends. No matter who it is, you have to give them their flowers. You got to give them their time. You're telling me right now if Danny Nuna and Jody Threat were having a knockouts against title match against the Elegance ladies and AJ Styles wanted that 20 minutes, you think they're not going to push back their and not just them, they'll try anyone, they will cut their segments there. They will sacrifice because it's AJ Styles. We're going to have a conversation there, or better yet, any returning legends coming in that wants to cut a promo from anywhere from an AJ Styles to Awesome Kong, they will cut their segment on there in those different companies if they wanted that microphone time or that mic time or TV time. Well, definitely. So guys, thank you so much. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. So we'll see you next week. May the sports be with you.